Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Oh, our Irish lady saying hello. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, you're wearing, you're the only one who doesn't get pinched.
Yeah, I know.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, you get pinched.
Yeah.
Someone already wrote pinch me. I don't care because no green on me.
I know, but we're socially distancing, so how can I pinch you guys? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day to also Patty, our senior producer, who is full-blooded Irish, I'm sure. And we love you, Patty. And
I'm sure.
We wish you, Patty Donnelly, that sounds pretty Irish. All right. We hope you have a chance to celebrate safely, maybe enjoy some Irish cuisine like you were talking about, corned beef and cabbage, have a Guinness or a green beer at home with your family. Now, this year, most of the big celebrations and parades in cities like New York, Chicago, Boston, and Philly have been canceled, but some are going virtual. How are you going to celebrate?
You know, it's so crazy because all my life growing up, and I really didn't have that much of a connection to a lot of Irish people growing up, but my dad used to cook corned beef and cabbage every year, and it was like a tradition, but he just adapted it.
Like on St. Patrick's Day?
On St. Patrick's Day, the whole house smelled like corned beef and cabbage.
It's not a good smell.
It isn't a great
like
smell.
it.
But,
It's a little,
well, I have a story because I came out the house and my boyfriend was like, what's happening with the way that you're smelling at the time? But I loved it, and I would eat it, and I'm going to miss that. That's what I want to say. And to all my Irish friends, now, happy St. Patrick's Day.
My mother-in-law is real Irish, and she always gave me corned beef and cabbage. And this Jew was like, "What is this? This is deli. It's good."
It's deli.
What do you think? How are you going to celebrate?
We are actually going to celebrate, and the reason why is because I gave my husband a reading. Like an ancestral reading for Valentine's Day. He just did it this past weekend. And this person presented themselves okay, keep in mind my husband's family is from Italy and then came to the US in Chicago. But apparently there's this Irish person who kept presenting herself, and so we need to honor whatever or whoever this person is. So we are going to celebrate.
Good for you.
So I brought out some things before I left, and I was like, when we get back, we're going to do this whole thing because clearly she was
a strong presence.
Very strong.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Top of the morning to her.
If there's anybody that you can ask about trying things once, it's always Erica.
Always.
Like, just give me the run. It doesn't matter what it is. Erica has done it and will give you whether it's a yes or no.
She's always tried it. She's the best
my new
person
thing
to
is
go to.
abdominal massage. I'll tell you more about it. It is amazing.
We'll do a segment on that. All right, we are moving on to some incredibly sad news, and I want you all to take a moment here. I know you all have seen this. 8 people are dead, including 6 Asian women, after a shooting rampage at 3 different massage parlors in the Atlanta area. A 21-year-old suspect seen here was arrested last night, this is he, in Connecticut with the shootings after a 3-hour manhunt. Now, new information is coming out today, and we want to keep you up to date. The suspect is speaking with police and indicated he actually has a sexual addiction issue and may have frequented some of these massage parlors in the past and actually wanted to, quote, eliminate temptation. So he was also reportedly on his way to Florida, quote, perhaps to carry out additional shootings. Now, that is according to the mayor of Atlanta. I do want to address, though, the rash of Asian American.
Right.
Let's not skip over that at any point to our Asian brothers and sisters. Erica, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm not skipping over it.
Yeah.
I think this is absolutely a tactic, a legal tactic, in order to avoid hate crime charges. That's my opinion. But in the wake of what has become an epidemic of Asian hate and violence against Asian communities, we cannot let this just slide with this explanation. This is a real thing. It comes from all of the tropes and all of the disparaging things that have been said about Asian Americans. And now violence has been lashed out against these groups, and we need to raise our voices and keep the pressure up to let people know that this will not be tolerated.
Yeah, it is an epidemic, and maybe you haven't heard it in the news, but you're going to hear it at DBL. We're not going to let this story go. There is Asian Americans under attack. It is become an epidemic, and whether or not this was the motive, Lindsay, we certainly need to keep our Asian brothers and sisters in the news, and we will keep reporting it. What do you think?
And I just read a quote from the president of the NAACP. They said, please stop saying this shooting isn't racially motivated. It's not only insensitive, but it ignores the very real pain that many Asian Americans are feeling right now. And having Asian friends, you know, I think when we perpetuate that xenophobia that we saw with the last administration, you can't say that it's not directly connected, because they're calling it the Chinese virus, and then people are directly getting attacked. And whether he's saying this is a hate crime or not, I think that there are Asians that feel uncomfortable. And as a black person in America, I think we can relate to that fear of just wanting to walk down the street, do your job at a massage parlor, whatever you're doing, and feeling under attack, you know, just because you're just living your life. And so I think we have to be aware of what's going on. It hasn't gotten the press coverage that it needs to get. In the magnitude and those numbers, how they've gone up 150% is insane. And I think that we have to continue talking about it so we don't neglect this entire community.
Yeah, so let's just say the Chinese and the Kung Flu, all of that, words matter, and we're seeing that reflected.
Oh, absolutely. And let's not also just gloss over the idea that he has a sexual addiction to further the stereotype that massage parlors owned by Asian Americans.
That's a great point, Erica.
Are about sex.
That's a great point.
I mean, that's something that, like, that's insult to injury to the nth degree.
That's a great point.
It's disgusting.
That's a great point. Also, just so you know, the Cherokee County Sheriff described him as, it was a bad day for him, and this is what he did. It's a very strange way to describe.
Yeah. Yeah, a bad day, you know,
Yeah.
you might yell at your boyfriend.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, officials say it's too early to say if those shootings, as we said, in the Atlanta area are a hate crime, but hate crimes against Asian Americans, like we said, are on the rise, and we want to educate you. There were nearly 3,800 incidents last year, according to a group that tracks anti-Asian hate. That's nearly up 1,000 from the year prior. Verbal harassment was the most frequent type of discrimination, followed by shunning or avoidance. More than 11% of the incidents were physical assaults. According to the report, Asian women reported hate incidents 2.3 times more than men. And again, when you say, maybe I haven't heard about this, I am very proud of DBL for talking about this now. I will not let this story go. This is going to happen to my black brothers and sisters, my Jewish, my Muslim. We bring it up. Just because they're Asian in some way doesn't mean we delete or keep this quiet. This is a racist problem that's becoming violent.
But the thing that perpetuates is that when we see the worst in America, because we're seeing that these numbers went up after coronavirus became a thing, nobody wants to talk about it, right? This is the worst part of what's going on in our country, and we try to like just graze over it. But this is a big issue, and so I think we have to address it because it's showing us that while we came together during coronavirus and while we were strong and helpful towards each other and we're on the other side of it, fingers crossed, there's still people like this out here doing things like this.
Absolutely, and Joe Biden made that a point in his address to say this needs to stop. Needs to stop. Well, coming up on DBL, Brains and Beauty, former Miss America Nina Davaluri is telling Erica how she turned her historic win into meaningful activism. And it's an all-out social media war between Cardi B and conservative commentator Candace Owens. We'll tell you why they're beefing coming up next. Good Lord.
Closed captioning provided by
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL. Big shout out, top of the morning to ya. St. Patrick's Day shout out to our coworkers tuning in from home during the pandemic. We really miss you guys. We can't wait to see you. Well, let's get into this because this story's everywhere. Conservative commentator Candace Owens and rapper Cardi B are having a war of words. Let's take you back to tell you the story. It started when Candace took issue with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance at the Grammy Awards on Sunday. We've spoken about that. Speaking on Fox News, Candace called the racy performance a, quote, weakening of America and a destruction of American values and American principles. Cardi B hit back by posting allegedly false claims that Candace's brother and Candace's husband had an affair. Candace then posted a tweet saying that she is going to sue Cardi B for throwing out wild lies about her family. Whoa, that escalated quickly. Erica's eyes are fully closed. What is going on? What's your thoughts, Erica?
Well, first, she loves Candace Owens, so she got to share her
Stop.
love.
Stop. We will fight right now. We will take off those cute shoes you have on and our earrings.
It's going
and
down.
We will fight.
Okay.
No, I mean, let's be honest. Do we really believe that she believes anything she says or those Twitter fingers tweet?
No.
I mean, do we really believe it?
I don't.
Because, I mean, when it really comes down to it, she's a professional troll, and she's very successful at it. I mean, I will give credit to her on that. Very successful. But she's basically a Piers Morgan with less dignity. Ooh. I mean, when you really talk about it, you are talking about someone who has gained a platform by saying disparaging things about people who look like her. She's dismissed black people, and she's also put lives in jeopardy by doing so. And this is all after she benefited from systems and advocacy from which she now dismisses, all for a check. And I mean, the check must be good. I don't know. I've never been in a contract negotiation from my soul, so I don't know. But I would imagine that the check is really good because, I mean, Lindsay, we know, like, as black women in media, this is the short line to a check. I mean, anyone who's going to get up and say disparaging things about people who look like you in front of people who don't is a fast line to a check. And most of us are going to say no to that. But she said yes. And I mean, I don't get it, but hey, girl, do your thing. I just don't necessarily want to talk about it.
So she's like the more organized version of Stacey Dash.
I was going to say, it's like a Stacey Dash.
But because she went to get her master's, like, Candace Owens is very smart. My cousin went to school with her. Like, this is a very smart woman who understands exactly what she's doing. So it's different when you're having the dialogue with somebody who's just like Stacey Dash, who's an actress who is smart in her own right, but doesn't have the dialogue that Candace Owens has to continue the conversation. No, but the words to continue the conversation and the lies, knowing where you're getting the information from. It's just like when you watch certain primetime shows, they find the right words to make you believe their side of the story. And so Candace Owens is a master at that. I think that as somebody who was very interested in this story, I was watching Cardi B go back and forth with her on Twitter, like line by line last night, just loving it all, because Cardi B is the exact opposite. She came out as herself. She started on Love and Hip Hop. She was on a show where she's like, I'm a former stripper, now I'm a rapper, here's me. And so CBS called her to the table to do her biggest performance of her biggest song from last year. And she's like, listen, I'm doing my hit. CBS, one of the most buttoned up networks out of ABC and NBC, just based on like the last couple of years, really called her up to the table to perform this and then expected not to get this type of pushback. But I actually think they're happy about it because look how much publicity their show has now gotten. We're talking about the conversation into almost the next Friday.
Their ratings dropped by like a gazillion % to have us talking about it the next day after that.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Continuing to, Lindsay, I have a question for you because it seems to me like this is the pendulum swinging way in the other direction after CBS's debacle with Janet Jackson, because that essentially blacklisted her. Les Moonves was called to the table to talk about the fact that he blacklisted her. So the idea that they would have Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion performing all these years later and really benefiting from it, and we haven't really heard from CBS.
Do you think they were trying to like apologize, a restitution to have that on because of the Janet Jackson, to reform their image?
I think they know that nobody's watching TV right now. The ratings are going to be low, just like all other award shows, and they were trying to pull out all the stops. It's just like what people do that run networks. And Les Moonves, I don't believe, is even there anymore, correct? So they're, it's like there's somebody else in leadership. It's like, we got to do this. And the thing is, like, if they wanted to have a discussion with Cardi B, they could have asked her to perform another song. The song, again, wasn't even up for an award. So they intentionally had her there with no connection to the award show and said, perform this song with Megan Thee Stallion that has nothing to do with Megan Thee Stallion's album either. And had her on and then have all this controversy. So I think this is all planned. They want us to talk about it. You got what you want. Candace Owens, you're a fool with it.
Ooh,
I'm sorry.
I love it. I'm ending on that. Coming up on DBL, former Miss America, Nina Davaluri. This is great. She made history as the very first woman of South Asian descent to win the crown. And she tells Erica how she's going to use her voice to spread a message of inclusion. Stay tuned for this one.
Welcome back to DBL. Colorism is mistreatment of people with darker skin, often within their race or family. Earlier, I tackled this hot topic with Nina Davaluri, who is also my Instagram sister, because even as Miss America, she's experienced it and is talking about it in our DBL Spotlight.
Miss America is Miss New York.
You were the first South Asian woman to get the crown. So you have been a champion for diversity and social justice in so many ways. I really want to know what colorism means to you and how it differs from racism.
The morning after I won Miss America, I woke up to hundreds of comments. This was, really back in 2014 where Twitter had hit its peak. And I woke up to a lot of xenophobic and racist comments about being a terrorist, being called Miss 7-Eleven, being un-American to win the title. But I think the other part of this conversation that was happening amongst the South Asian community was this conversation, and I woke up to a headline in an Indian newspaper that said, "Is Miss America too dark to be Miss India?" And colorism is something that I have grown up with. And how many more generations do we have to endure this toxic ideology and this hierarchical structure that's been passed down?
I really, really identified with what you were saying. And this isn't just something you talk about. This is your life's mission in a way. You're a filmmaker and you're talking about colorism as a filmmaker. Can you tell us about your documentary?
Oh, look at her. Kali chal kar aa rahi hai. Oh my God, hataओ ना इसको. Like, she's dark. That black girl, she's coming in front. Tell her to go off of the stage.
As a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I think for me, I went into this process of how do I tell these hundreds of human stories, find the common connections and threads, and how can we actively create change from these stories? And so one of the stories that I remember telling as a part of this was there was a girl who was 16 years old. She was being bullied because she was dark-skinned, and she had admitted that she was also close to committing suicide because of the comments and the bullying that she was experiencing. And to hear someone like Meghan Markle come out and speak her truth and be vulnerable and share that, I think that's really a common thread for all of us in the sense that any of us can be that little girl.
Meghan Markle speaking out about the conversation that was had about Archie's skin tone and how dark he might be by asking what color the child may be, is that inherently a racist question?
I do think it's inherently a racist question in the context that it was asked, specifically for her. But I think also this is something that is very normalized, just wanting to have a lighter skinned baby. And this is the first time that I've genuinely seen in mainstream media where we are speaking about this, we are sharing our stories. And I think that is one of the most impactful things that we can do.
You are doing amazing things in this world, and you have to let us know and come back to give us all the details on your film Complexion.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of this story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, "There is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing." So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. The Better Business Bureau is warning of new tax identity theft. Now, if you haven't filed your taxes yet, do it now. Because of the pandemic, there are new threats like federal stimulus pay and unemployment scams. If you wait until the April 15th deadline, you're putting yourself at higher risk of fraud. Now, scammers are looking for people who don't file early and are making fake phone calls to get their personal information. Once they do, they can file in your name. It's also happening through email, where people are asking for personal info in exchange for a free gift card. It's not worth it, y'all. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Good info, no?
Oof. I mean, you really have to pay attention, especially to your elderly family members, because they are definitely the most at risk. Back in the day, I remember, I mean, Big Mama's been gone for 18 years now, but we had all of her calls forwarded, and we would receive all of her mail because she was being constantly preyed on.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea to go through a security level on that. I got some comments about St. Patrick's Day. Y'all are having fun out there. Claudia says, green beer and corned beef and cabbage. We call it St. Shavin's Patrick's Day. My son's name is Shavin Patrick, and when he was little, he thought this was his day.
That's awesome.
It is your day.
It is your day, sir. George says they will do everything possible to keep it from being a hate crime. This is, of course, about the massage parlor shooting. Heather says, praying for all those who got shot and their family at this time. God comfort thee and give them peace and hold them in the coming days. Amen. And Cardi B performance, Heather says, they take children's book off the shelf and show this trash.
This is not a shelf of a bookstore.
It's so different.
Why everybody act like Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B asked for Mr. Potato Head to be canceled and books to be taken off shelves?
Everybody is like reaching so far to connect the dots here. And it's like there's no connection. This is an award show with music performances versus like Dr. Seuss books and things that you can buy for your children to read, absorb, and learn from.
And I also want to make this very clear again about Dr. Seuss, because a lot of you wrote me, a lot of you. This came from Dr. Seuss's estate. They felt that it was racist and they evolved. They took the preemptive moves to take it off the shelf. That's not censoring, that's evolving. And that's okay with me, and I think we need to make that clear. It came from the Dr. Seuss estate. It didn't get canceled.
And I know, because I have a young 2-year-old niece, that there are plenty of music videos out there for kids that she watches and learns from, and they sing along with them. So like if you want your kids absorbing that information, you can find it easily on YouTube for free. So I don't get, well, you don't have to go looking for Cardi B on CBS at 10 p.m.
Or Kids Bop.
Or kids, that's right. All right, goodbye to our coworkers at home. When the pandemic is over, we'll be back together soon. We're new every day, guys. See you same time, same place tomorrow.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
8 people are dead in shootings in 2 Atlanta area massage parlors. Was this another targeted hate crime against Asians? Cardi B and Candace Owens' heated Twitter feud ends with legal threats. Could it come down to these two suing each other? Sharon Osbourne under investigation. The racist accusations she's facing from former colleagues. And in today's True Crime Chronicles, inside the minds of America's most notorious serial killers.
I was lost, and I didn't know who I was.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, March 17th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Yes, we hope you have a chance to celebrate safely. Maybe enjoy some Irish cuisine like corned beef and cabbage, have a Guinness or some green beer at home with your fam. So this year, though, most of the big celebrations and parades in cities like New York, Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia have been canceled, but some are going on virtually. So Jeff, and both you and Erica from Chicago, every time I see the Green River, is it a river?
Chicago River.
Every time I see the Green River, I think of y'all. Now, how did you used to celebrate, Jeff, and what are you doing now that we're in a pandemic?
So my mom used to make corned beef and cabbage in the crock pot every, just to celebrate, and then I'd head off downtown to the Green River.
Fun.
Maybe drink some of it by Street. I don't know. Some of those
safe?
days. No, it's definitely definitely don't drink
You better take some antibiotics after that.
It came close, but I never did. But today, we have this little clubhouse in our neighborhood. They give out one free beer, and they have like a little food truck. So instead of doing all that, although I love corned beef and cabbage, just gonna go up there and get a green beer and maybe eat a corned beef sandwich or something.
Erica?
Yeah, in Chicago, I lived right on the parade route, right off the Chicago River. I won't do my impression. Every year I do my
What?
I do the impression.
What impression?
So there used to be this commercial in Chicago, I think it was for McDonald's, and they're like, every year for St. Patty's Day, they dye the river green. They do such a good job, it stays that way the whole year round.
That was good. We're going to keep the tradition alive.
Every year. So I would go and, hang out and do all those things. This year, we are going to do a little celebration at home.
You are?
Yes, just a little something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Tori, do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Top of the morning to you, Sammy. I do. I'm married to an Irish Catholic, and my Irish in-law, my mother-in-law, always made me corned beef and cabbage, and I've grown to love it because it's like deli.
Yes.
It is.
Yes,
Are you doing
it
anything,
is.
Sam?
No, we don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but to all our Irish brothers and sisters out there, I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. I don't eat corned beef. Maybe we can.
You could put a little dye in your buttery shard.
I might do that. I actually have to.
I don't know if you can put dye in the buttery shard.
I'm going to try it, and I'm going to send you a picture.
Half a glass.
Okay. I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to do a green buttery shard.
There you go.
Yes. I wonder, do people still pinch? Has that been canceled? Pinching?
It probably should be.
It should be. Pinching if you don't wear
It's
green.
Right.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh, yeah.
It is
See, you're safe because you have a little green in your...
Yeah, you're safe.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
I've got green on me, but yeah, that's a little antiquated. Nobody go out there pinching people, okay? Okay, so we're going to move on to an incredibly sad story. 8 people are dead, including 6 Asian women, after a shooting rampage at 3 different massage parlors in the Atlanta area. A 21-year-old suspect, seen here, was arrested last night in connection with the shooting after a 3-hour manhunt. New information coming out today, the suspect is speaking with police and indicated he has sexual addiction issues and may have frequented some of these massage parlors in the past and wanted to, quote, eliminate temptation. He was also reportedly on his way to Florida, quote, perhaps to carry out additional shootings. That's according to the mayor of Atlanta. Now, Erica, we've definitely seen a rise in Asian hate crimes, right? Anti-Asian hate crimes. And I know that this is his excuse, legal strategy, but I don't think that we can deny the fact that many Asian people have been the victim of Asian hate.
We can't deny it, and we should not be denying it, because all it's doing is just stoking the fire for more hate and violence against the Asian community. And if we don't call things out for them as they are, then all we're doing is we're really saying, let's be violent and this is going to be okay. I think it's really important that we listen to the verbiage of how this story is being told, because the idea that he would say that it wasn't about them being Asian, it was about massage parlors, which now he's basically saying that it's sex parlors, is a dog whistle. And it's to put that out there that maybe these were places that weren't legitimate businesses, while also provoking a lot of hatred against the Asian community, which has been on the uprise for quite some time now. And I don't think that it's any mystery how it got that way with all of the rhetoric that was spewed about coronavirus.
Correct. Now, before you chime in, Tori, and then Jeff, I just want to get this in here because officials say it's too early to say if those shootings in the Atlanta area are a hate crime, but to our point, hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. There were nearly 3,800 incidents last year, according to a group that tracks anti-Asian hate. That's up nearly 1,000 from the year prior. Verbal harassment was the most frequent type of discrimination, followed by shunning or avoidance. More than 11% of the incidents were physical assaults. According to the report, Asian women reported hate incidents 2.3 times, Tori, more than men.
Yeah, we got a real problem on our hands, and at DBL, we're going to be reporting this because the media takes responsibility in showing the light of what's going on with our Asian brothers and sisters. I do want to point out that our former president and people in his administration, when they call the coronavirus Kung Flu, the China virus, I say this because people understand that those words lead to actions, and we're seeing this happen on the streets. Random people getting pushed, random people getting punched, and this has turned into an epidemic, and the words need to be called out, I think.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. And your point was interesting about perpetuating that stereotype. I didn't even think about adding that to the story. I kind of wish we wouldn't have shown this man's face. We started doing that when the school shootings were starting to rise, and we chose not to do that. I think we need to get back to that because, like both of you guys said, we need to stop this now. I heard rumblings of this. There's 2 Asian guys who live on my block. They've never opened up and talked about this. I don't know how big of a thing it is. And then you see a story like this and you realize how big it is. So it is a big thing, and we have to, stop it now.
We absolutely do. Thank you for that, Jeff. Coming up on DBL, Sharon Osbourne is in hot water. Will she be able to survive new racial allegations leveled against her? Plus, brains and beauty. Former Miss America Nina Davaluri is telling Erica how she turned her historic win into meaningful activism. And it's an all-out social media war between Cardi B and conservative commentator Candace Owens. We'll tell you what it's all about coming up next.
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL, everyone. Check out all our co-workers at home during the pandemic. Look at all your smiling faces. Hey, Kel. You guys are working so hard. Keep up the great work, everybody. So conservative commentator Candace Owens and rapper Cardi B are having a war of words. It all started when Candace took issue with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance at the Grammy Awards on Sunday. Speaking on Fox News, Candace called the racy performance, quote, weakening of America and a destruction of American values and American principles. Cardi B hit back by posting allegedly false claims that Candace's brother and Candace's husband had an affair. Candace then posted a tweet saying that she is going to sue Cardi B for throwing out wild lies about her family. Wow. Erica, what do you think? Oh, your eyes are closed. What's going on?
My eyes are wide open. I don't believe that this woman believes anything that she says. I really don't. I think that this is a very short road to a check for her. You know, Candace Owens is a professional troll. That's what she does. She stokes the flames in order to get attention. And I think, you know, it's just interesting to me because from my perspective as a black woman in media, I look at her as someone who took the short line. And what I mean by that is that any black woman or black man who's willing to get up in front of people and disparage people that look like them in front of people who don't, there is a very quick check for that. It's very widely known. So I can't really take anything that she says seriously because I don't think she really takes herself seriously. I think she's very successful at what she does. I mean, clearly she's doing the damn thing. But at what cost? I mean, how much does a soul cost?
Jeff.
Let me add some levity to this. This morning, I know how Erica feels about Candace Owens, and when we were talking about this, she's like, who wants to hear from Candace Owens? I'm like, I like her. You know what I mean? I thought, or Candace Owens, I'm sorry. I'm like, I like her. I thought you were talking about Candace Cameron. And I was like, oh, and like towards the end of the conversation, I was like, oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
There you go. The hamster started running.
So what do you think about, take them out of it?
Let's take Candace Owens out of this for now, okay? And just pose that question. Was it appropriate for CBS to do this? I don't blame Cardi B for doing this. This is what Cardi B does, right? If you look all the way back to Elvis Presley shaking the hips, people did the same controversy about it. Madonna with the pointy things.
The bra?
Pointy things?
I don't know. Listen, I want every time I'm on this camera, I'm on eggshells over
You can say bra.
There's not a carpet, it's all eggshells.
I thought you were pointing
Okay, what are you pointing?
See what I mean? See what I mean? You just fall into it and then boom, I'm gone. That'd be Jeff's gone.
Okay, so the pointy bra.
Anyways, the point I was making, this falls on CBS, okay? I know we're trying to have a serious conversation, but it's gone awry. So this falls on CBS with the cancel culture in play and everybody losing their job for like little small things, and I'm not comparing it to Mr. Potato Head like we did yesterday. I'm saying this is a real thing. People lose their jobs for little things that they say, for sharing their opinions. CBS is a primetime network, ABC, NBC. If it was on HBO, do your thing, right? Do your thing. But this is on a major network that cancels people for smaller things. So I think it was up to them to say, hey, listen, I love you, Cardi B. I'd love you to do a song. We can't even say the name of your song in this show, so maybe pick another one.
But see, here's the thing.
And then Tori chime in. Erica,
sorry, we've had this conversation, but the truth is that CBS may be in the middle of an overcorrection because you brought up people canceled versus people who weren't, and also why certain people were canceled for smaller infractions based than others. Janet Jackson was essentially canceled by Les Moonves at CBS.
And I brought that up.
And so the overcorrection is, I mean, is this an overcorrection in this moment, or is it just CBS saying like, hey, these are two of the most popular artists right now, let's make sure that they do their thing on our stage?
They did put up a disclaimer saying if you have children, remove them from the room. So what more are you supposed to do? I would never let my children watch that performance, but I would watch it.
Yeah, like if you're gonna put Cardi B in, whose song wasn't up for an award, CBS asked them to do that song. If you know what that song means, you aren't shocked that this is how they acted. That's exactly what the song's all about. So it's just silly and it's imbecilic to me to be angry about that. Now I will say, Candace Owens, you need to be careful about suing for defamation because people can come right back at you. She is a self-hating woman, I think, that has nothing but darkness in her heart. I really can't stand her.
She's also very litigious happy. You know, she has a number of lawsuits, and Yes, Erica, I see you pointing. What's going on, girl?
No, I was pointing. I was getting. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
She's very litigious. Let's look at that history of lawsuits.
And who did she utilize for said lawsuits, and then turned around and disparaged and dismissed them as well?
Tell them.
So you benefited from that platform, Boo Boo. You benefited.
Okay. Coming up on DBL, actor Elliot Page makes history on the cover of Time. We'll explain why this photo is so powerful. And next, former Miss America, Nina Davaluri. She made history as the first woman of South Asian descent to win the crown, and tells Erica how she's using her voice to spread a message of inclusion.
Welcome back to DBL. Colorism is mistreatment of people with darker skin, often within their race or family. Earlier, I tackled this hot topic with Nina Davaluri, who is also my Instagram sister, because even as Miss America, she's experienced it and is talking about it in our DBL Spotlight.
Miss America is Miss New York.
You were the first South Asian woman to get the crown. So you have been a champion for diversity and social justice in so many ways. I really want to know what colorism means to you and how it differs from racism.
The morning after I won Miss America, I woke up to hundreds of comments. This was, really back in 2014 where Twitter had hit its peak. And I woke up to a lot of xenophobic and racist comments about being a terrorist, being called Miss 7-Eleven, being un-American to win the title. But I think the other part of this conversation that was happening amongst the South Asian community was this conversation, and I woke up to a headline in an Indian newspaper that said, "Is Miss America too dark to be Miss India?" And colorism is something that I have grown up with. How many more generations do we have to endure this toxic ideology and this hierarchical structure that's been passed down?
I really, really identified with what you were saying. And this isn't just something you talk about. This is your life's mission in a way. You're a filmmaker and you're talking about colorism as a filmmaker. Can you tell us about your documentary?
Oh, look at her. Kali chal kar aa rahi hai. Oh my God, hatao na isko. Like, she's dark. That black girl, she's coming in front. Tell her to go off of the stage.
impact. As a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I think for me, I went into this process of how do I tell these hundreds of human stories, find the common connections and threads, and how can we actively create change from these stories? And so one of the stories that I remember telling as a part of this was there was a girl who was 16 years old. She was being bullied because she was dark-skinned, and she had admitted that she was also close to committing suicide because of the comments and the bullying that she was experiencing. And to hear someone like Meghan Markle come out and speak her truth and be vulnerable and share that, I think that's really a common thread for all of us, in the sense that any of us can be that little girl.
Meghan Markle speaking out about the conversation that was had about Archie's skin tone and how dark he might be. By asking what color the child may be, is that inherently a racist question?
I do think it's inherently a racist question in the context that it was asked, specifically for her. But I think also this is something that is very normalized, just wanting to have a lighter skinned baby. And this is the first time that I've genuinely seen in mainstream media where we are speaking about this, we are sharing our stories, and I think that is one of the most impactful things that we can do.
You are doing amazing things in this world, and you have to let us know and come back to give us all the details on your film Complexion.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of this story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, "There is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing." So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
DBL. We've got an incredible rescue caught on camera. Emergency crews saved 2 people from this pickup truck that had crashed and plunged off a bridge, leaving them dangling above a 100-foot gorge in Idaho on Monday. Can you imagine? A pair of chains was the only thing keeping the truck from falling. They were connected to a trailer they were towing. Now, a Good Samaritan, who, by the way, happened to be a tow truck driver, was first on the scene and was able to hook his rig to the dangling truck. Here's what he said to Good Morning America.
I was just at the right place at the right time, and actually I give all the credit to God that I was there. That truck is just hanging on by a little chain when I looked over.
Wow. Now, 2 dogs were also rescued. That is divine intervention. Not right place at the right time. That was divine intervention.
That'll get you believing. I like to use my girlfriend Tanya's quote. She survived a fighter jet crash, and she said, "What I learned was, if it ain't your day to die, nothing's gonna kill you."
Wow, fighter jet crash. Okay,
That's a story.
That's a whole nother story.
Oh, she's amazing.
Show. Okay, so and then Tori, what did you think of this?
Well, basically in Yiddish, there's a word I want you guys to know called beshert. And beshert means it's meant to be. It's meant to be. And it's usually about soulmates. You say it's beshert. It's meant to happen. But that man being there with the chains, that was beshert, just as you guys said. No matter what God you believe in, that was divine.
Tori just takes a story and just like.
Wait, why did all the energy die?
Maybe Jeff has a saying. Do you have a saying that you would apply to this story?
No, I'm going to go with divine intervention or beshert. I learned something new. But it just, I don't know why. When Tori talks, we have that friendship, I just want to laugh and make fun of you all the time.
You guys poke fun. We all poke fun. If our viewers could only see our text threads.
I know she was texting at the break. That's
If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. You can chat with other viewers and with the host during the commercials, and we'll read your comments on TV. If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Sharon Osbourne is fighting for her career after new allegations of racial slurs are revealed. Plus, inside the minds of infamous serial killers, we're talking to the hosts of a new podcast in True Crime Chronicles. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. You guys are working so hard. DBL is new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2,
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. All right, so Sharon Osbourne is speaking out about allegations that she called her former co-hosts racial and homophobic slurs. Sharon has been in hot water since she defended Piers Morgan for speaking out against Meghan Markle on The Talk. The show is now on an extended break until next week. Meantime, former co-host Holly Robinson Peete accused Sharon of calling her, quote, too ghetto for the daytime talk show right before she was let go. And now new allegations from a freelance journalist claim Sharon used a homophobic slur against Sarah Gilbert and called Julie Chen a, quote, wonton and, quote, slanty eyes. I'm not even comfortable saying that out loud. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Sharon denied ever calling Julie those racial slurs and said the other allegations are just people who want to add fuel to the fire. Jeff, do you think that Sharon can survive this latest controversy?
I don't know. I didn't know that she could survive just sticking up for Piers Morgan and what he said. I question whether all of this has come about because of that solo incident. They should come, if these are all allegations right now, but if they are true, she should be, you know, held to the fire for it, right, so to speak. But I mean, I think the Piers allegations put it over the top.
Yeah, I think the issue really becomes the culture that they've clearly cultivated on that set. And the reason why I believe that these people are coming forward after being silenced or fear of being blacklisted or losing their jobs is because the person who actually rang the bell and sounded the alarm was Elaine, their newest host. And when someone comes in who's new to your corporation or is new to the culture, and people who have been there for a long time are like, oh, this is normalized, this is how it is, this, you know, she's the head chick in charge, then so those things are very normal, right? But when you have someone new come in, they're the ones generally who are like, this is how y'all get down, because it's not okay. HR needs to be involved, and then that's how culture starts to change. So kudos to Elaine for not only stepping into that role, but also taking action when other people felt stifled.
Yeah, no, Tori, and chime in on this next story, but I just want to button this up by saying, you know, this warrants an independent investigation, independent outside of CBS and The Talk. And if these allegations are true, it should cost, in my opinion, Sharon her job. And I'm not one to call for someone's job, but what I just had to read on prompter made me so uncomfortable. I almost wish I did not have to read that. Elliot Page has made history, Tori. The Juno actor has become the first transgender man to appear on the cover of Time. Elliot said after he came out last year, he expected a lot of support and love and a massive amount of hatred and transphobia. And that is essentially what happened. Elliot also said that he has felt like a boy from a young age and said that having top surgery, quote unquote, has completely transformed his life. He also mentioned transgender actress Laverne Cox as one of his inspirations for coming out. Tori, what do you make about Elliot's revealing interview?
I think it's fantastic. Obviously, I think it's great that he's living his best life now. If you read the article, though, it's really interesting because it talks about how he definitely wanted shorter hair always. He cut his hair. There showed pictures, right? Like, he showed very clear indications that he was uncomfortable. He also says he can't even go back and watch any roles that are super feminine. Like, Juno is what we all know Ellen Page for, right? But Elliot Page doesn't really feel comfortable going back because that's a very feminine, she's pregnant role. So I think this is a new beginning, and I think we're going to see some really interesting acting roles for Elliot that might be a little bit more bold and interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing his career.
Another thing that really stuck out to me in the interview, Jeff and Erica, is the fact that he talked about how having top surgery, quote unquote, helped him to feel normal again, right? Because finally his physicality matched his inner psyche, his inner biology. So the fact that so many young trans teens and adults don't have access to that type of health care is alarming. And I don't know how we can somehow advocate for that to be a right, considering that it can save lives.
Well, I think we have to start with awareness, education, and just acknowledging that trans people are humans. That is probably the most fundamental thing about it. When we mentioned Laverne Cox, she has a documentary called Disclosure, and it really does tell us how we formulate our opinions about the trans community based on the media that we're served, and how that needs to change based on representation, how much representation in education truly matters. So when you mention young people who are dealing with, you know, I look at Zaya Wade, like what Zaya Wade is doing is so incredible. For the amount of backlash from grown but people coming after this young girl is just amazing. And I know that she's saving lives, and so is Elliot. So I just commend them.
And Jeff, Elliot did say in this article that he knew as young as age 4 that he was supposed to be a boy. So Sophie's almost 4, you know, and so I just... go ahead.
I'm happy for Elliot Page. Listen, this is true. If you're happy, I'm happy. You know what I mean? And I think everyone should feel that way. It's not your business, your body. If you're happy, Elliot, I'm happy for you. I'm going to take it to somewhere else, though, okay, and maybe spark a little controversy here. So Elliot Page is currently a female in her role that she plays, or his role that she plays. Excuse my vernacular. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a story about Jared Leto coming up a little bit later on, how he transforms. I don't want to spoil it, but he's an amazing actor, right? He won an Oscar for playing a transgender woman, okay? 2021, can Jared Leto play a transgender woman? Because Tori, I want to go back to you. You always say handicapped roles should go to handicapped people, and I'm not pointing anyone out. Transgender roles should go to transgender people. In 2021, should Elliot Page, who is now a man, be playing a woman, or should Jared Leto, who is not transgender, would he be able to get that role now, even if he won an Oscar for it?
In my humble opinion, I think it should go to someone who's actually transgender, and it's because we're in a transformational period. I think the person who created Transparent would not have been picked to direct that amazing Amazon Prime show had it not have been a trans initiative that Amazon asked for. He said that's the only way I was asked to be part of that, and now look at that wonderfully huge show that bookmarked transformation in the trans world. So at this point, Jeff, I believe that you do want representation from people who are actually there, because they've never had a chance to dang audition ever.
And I'm with you, Tori. I'm just doing this for conversation's sake. So basically what you're saying, though, is Elliot Page is now a white male. Should he continue on as a female in that role?
Should he play a female? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I say I don't think he wants to. I think Elliot Page made it clear in that article he wants to play a role as he is biologically a male roles.
But no, it's what you're saying, Jeff, is something that has already sparked a lot of these conversations. So I'm glad we're having the conversation on the show. And to your point, I want to bring in Jared Leto. Now, where we see him in this new movie with Gaga is not him playing a trans person, but in the past, he's been celebrated for it, correct? So that was to Jeff's point. Yeah. But we want our viewers to check this out. So this is a little scene from House of Gucci. Can anyone guess? Well, we all know who it is. Jeff spoiled it, but as you can see, you guys, you can barely recognize him. It is Jared Leto. The actor is playing the role of Paolo Gucci and looks completely unrecognizable. This isn't the first time Jared has transformed for a role. To Jeff's point, he played a transgender woman in his Oscar-winning performance in Dallas Buyers Club. Here he is playing Mark David Chapman in a movie about John Lennon's murder. And of course, he was the Joker in the Suicide Squad. I love Jeff's conversation because on this show, this is the conversations that we have. Most people may shy away from these conversations, but this is what a lot of people are talking about on social media. I don't think that Jared Leto could be playing that role, even though he did a fantastic job with it. I don't think in 2021 that he should have played that role in Dallas Buyers Club. Now, 10 years ago, or whenever Dallas Buyers Club was made, we weren't having these conversations, unfortunately, but now we are.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we have these conversations, and I think that, as with anything, we can have conversations in a respectful way. Absolutely. And listen to what people's opinions are. I mean, let me be honest. I woke up this morning to a video on Instagram of a woman taking off her full-blown black head.
What?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
I saw this woman. She was a model. She looked like a black woman, and then they peeled off a whole latex thing, and there was a white woman underneath it. So you know what? I'm glad we're having these conversations.
Wait, why did she do this?
Girl, I mean, mean, apparently the memo's not out that blackface is not okay. So I'm just saying, let's have these conversations and continue having them, because every time you have a conversation like this, there's at least one person who's never heard this conversation before.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we have to continue to have these conversations.
Yeah.
But that's how I woke up, and I was shook.
I bet you were.
I'm telling you, you should see it. She literally, I'm sending it to producers right now. I know now y'all want to see it. I'll show it to you.
Wow, wow,
It was crazy.
Well, I'm glad that we can have this dialogue.
Yeah, and I do want to say I'm happy for Ellie. I wasn't just posing the scenario because, Tori, we talk about that all the time. I think Jared Leto should be able to play
all the time.
He wasn't fantastic at the role. He was the most fantastic. He won an Oscar for that role. So to deny someone an Oscar for acting to do what they want, I think it's a good conversation to put out there. That's why I brought it up.
But remember, you might not have seen the best transgender actor ever because they never got to audition.
Well, then Matthew McConaughey played also. Oh, no, never mind. I'm going to leave it there, yes.
Okay. Coming up on DBL, inside the mind of America's most notorious serial killers. We're speaking with the host of a chilling new podcast in True Crime Chronicles, and say hey to our coworkers tuning in from home while they work during the pandemic. We appreciate you guys so much. Stay healthy. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by...
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL. Have you ever thought about what makes a serial killer tick? Well, a new podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers, explores some of history's most notorious murderers. Here is a sneak peek in today's True Crime Chronicles.
Many of the world's most notorious crimes are committed by serial killers. But what drives them to commit them? One of the first to shock a nation was Jack the Ripper. He terrorized London in 1888 by killing several women. His identity remains a mystery. In the 60s, there was the Boston Strangler, a man who broke into multiple women's homes.
11 unmarried women in and around Boston were strangled to death.
Albert DeSalvo confessed, but was never convicted. He was a troubled youth who had his first run-in with the law at 12 years old. Tony Costa was known as the Cape Cod Killer. He was just 16 years old when he began showing violence. He went on to murder young women and dump their bodies in graves around Massachusetts. America watched closely in the 1970s and 80s while James Whitey Bulger ruled the Boston underworld. The crime boss was said to be involved in numerous murders and landed on the FBI's most wanted list. He was caught after 16 years on the run.
James Whitey Bulger will finally face justice for a number of his crimes.
One of the most notorious sins came in 1980, when Beatles legend John Lennon was assassinated by Mark David Chapman. He claimed to have shot the musician because of his immense fame.
I was lost, and I didn't know who I was.
In 2013, 2 bombers set terror at the Boston Marathon, creating one of the darkest chapters in American history and biggest manhunts.
Today, we are enlisting the public's help to identify the 2 suspects.
Could these criminals' upbringings have contributed to their killing sprees? Or was it a traumatic life event that triggered them? The one thing that's certain is they all had a passion to kill.
Earlier, Tori and Lindsay spoke with the hosts of this new podcast. Take a look.
We are joined by Casey Sherman and Dave Wedge from the brand new true crime podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers. Thank you for coming on DBL. Now, Dave, people like myself who are fascinated with true crime, we are so into it. But let's talk about specifically serial killers. What is the fascination about them? Why are people so drawn to these stories?
It's so shocking and so horrifying that someone could be so inhuman that we want to know everything we can about their life and what drove them to that point.
Yeah, that's why I'm in.
And Casey, your podcast digs deep into what makes a serial killer snap. So explain that more. What twisted motives lead them to commit these crimes?
I look at how the investigators, whether they're detectives or investigative journalists like ourselves, piece together the evidence that ultimately lead to the truth. And often that truth is found in the childhoods of these serial killers. There is tremendous trauma that these men and women have gone through, and that sets them on a path of destruction, mayhem, and death.
Now, you were both on the ground during the manhunt for the Boston Marathon bombings. What can you tell us about the psychology of this specific type of killer?
Yeah, and for me, I was inside the courtroom when Dzhokhar Tsarnaev was sentenced to death, and I saw no remorse in his actions or in his eyes. He was proud of the murder and mayhem that he had committed on the streets of Boston.
What Dzhokhar Tsarnaev did when he stood behind the Richard family and put down his backpack with that bomb in it, and he stood there for 4 minutes behind that family,
Yes.
chose them, knew exactly what he's doing, and he had four long minutes to change his mind, and didn't do it.
Now, since you guys have seen so many horrific crimes, who do you believe is the most dangerous serial killer, dead or alive?
This is such a good question.
For me, you know, really the most shocking one that I've ever learned about was Jeffrey Dahmer. I've just never heard of anyone doing the sort of things that he did. It was so ritualistic and animalistic and horrifying.
Well, I'm currently working on a new book and television project with Robert Downey Jr.'s production company about a serial killer case on Cape Cod in the 1960s that went way under the radar because it was overshadowed by the Manson murder case in California. But in this case, the killer killed and dismembered at least 8 women and buried their bodies in shallow graves.
Wow.
And finally, I have got in my hands the autopsy and the crime scene photos from these crimes.
I will be listening because I think what you guys are trying to do is not just show the romanticism of it, which you can see in a lot of these episodes and podcasts, but to show what you said, the animals that they are, is so important for those that want justice. And I can't even imagine what that would feel like. Well, y'all can listen to their brand new podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers. It is out now. I'm watching.
Me too.
Casey and Dave, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
We on the
Welcome back to DBL. It is time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. The Better Business Bureau is warning of new tax identity theft. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, do it now. Because of the pandemic, there are new threats like federal stimulus pay and unemployment scams. If you wait until April 15th, the deadline, you're putting yourself at higher risk of fraud. Scammers are looking for people who don't file early and are making fake phone calls to get their personal information. Once they do, they can file in your name. It also is happening through email, where people are asking for personal info in exchange for a free gift card. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. This boils my blood. So many people are suffering right now due to the pandemic, unemployment, small businesses crashing, and then you have these criminals preying on these vulnerable victims.
And where they get that free gift card, that's where they get me. Sign up for a credit card at the White Sox game, you get a free me bat or a little mini bat.
You fall for that?
I always sign up. Not anymore, but I used to be like, free Beanie Baby that says White Sox on it? Sure, here's my credit information.
Which costs like $1.
But you're like at the game, you just want to be like, yeah, I got some souvenirs.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
the bladder control aisle.
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of this story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, there is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing. So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Tomorrow on DBL, he's back. World-renowned mentalist Wayne Hoffman joins us live to blow our minds with his psychic tricks.
That is insanity.
I'm gonna need some purity water over me because I don't know what's happening here.
Somebody sage me.
That's tomorrow, only on DBL.
Oh, Wayne Hoffman. He's from a different planet.
He's part of the family, though.
Oh,
Wayne,
my gosh.
He did our Christmas party.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He is definitely part of the DBL family. Okay, so we have a lot of comments on Elliot Page. Tina says, so proud of Elliot Page for living his truth. Ben says, Elliot, good for you. Don't let the haters detract you from true spirit. Now, in regard to Jared Leto, Diana says, Jared is such a good actor. He could play anyone. And Reese says, I think if you have the chops to play a role, you should. That's to Jeff's point.
Yeah, and I was just bringing up that point because if you really follow the rule that he can't be a transgender, if that's how you believe, then Elliot Page can't play a female. That's just I don't believe that, but if you're following those rules.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this discussion as things progress.
Erica doesn't even have to talk. Her face just
her
does
facial
all the
expressions are spot on. A quick goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. We appreciate everything you guys do. DBL is new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
8 people are dead in shootings in 2 Atlanta area massage parlors. Was this another targeted hate crime against Asians? Cardi B and Candace Owens' heated Twitter feud ends with legal threats. Could it come down to these two suing each other? Sharon Osbourne under investigation. The racist accusations she's facing from former colleagues. And in today's True Crime Chronicles, inside the minds of America's most notorious serial killers.
I was lost, and I didn't know who I was.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, March 17th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Yes, we hope you have a chance to celebrate safely. Maybe enjoy some Irish cuisine like corned beef and cabbage. Have a Guinness or some green beer at home with your fam. So this year, though, most of the big celebrations and parades in cities like New York, Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia have been canceled, but some are going on virtually. So Jeff, and both you and Erica from Chicago, every time I see the Green River, is it a river? Chicago River. Every time I see the Green River, I think of y'all. Now, how did you used to celebrate, Jeff, and what are you doing now that we're in a pandemic?
So my mom used to make corned beef and cabbage in the crock pot just to celebrate, and then I'd head off downtown to the Green River.
Fun.
Maybe drink some of it on my street. I don't know. Some of those days. No, it's definitely definitely don't drink.
You better take some antibiotics after that.
It came close, but I never did. But today, we have this little clubhouse in our neighborhood. They give out one free beer, and they have like a little food truck. So instead of doing all that, although I love corned beef and cabbage, just gonna go up there and get a green beer and maybe eat a corned beef sandwich or something.
Erica?
Yeah, in Chicago, I lived right on the parade route, right off the Chicago River. I won't do my impression. Every year I do my
What? I do the impression.
What impression?
So there used to be this commercial in Chicago, I think it was for McDonald's, and they're like, every year for St. Patty's Day, they dye the river green. They do such a good job, it stays that way the whole year round.
That was good. We're going to keep the tradition alive.
Every year. So I would go and, hang out and do all those things. This year, we are going to do a little celebration at home.
You are?
Yes, just a little something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Tori, do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Top of the morning to you, Sammy. I do. I'm married to an Irish Catholic, and my Irish in-law, my mother-in-law, always made me corned beef and cabbage, and I've grown to love it because it's like deli.
Yes.
It is.
Yes,
Are you doing
it
it,
Sam? No, we don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but to all our Irish brothers and sisters out there, I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. I don't eat corned beef. Maybe we can.
You could put a little dye in your buttery shard.
I might do that. I actually have to.
I don't know if you can put dye in the buttery shard.
I'm going to try it, and I'm going to send you a picture.
Half a glass.
Okay. I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to do a green buttery shard.
There you go.
Yes. I wonder, do people still pinch? Has that been canceled? Pinching?
It probably should be.
It should be. Pinching if you don't wear green.
Right.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh, yeah. See, you're safe because you have a little green in your...
Yeah, you're safe.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
I've got green on me, but yeah, that's a little antiquated. Nobody go out there pinching people, okay? Okay, so we're going to move on to an incredibly sad story. 8 people are dead, including 6 Asian women, after a shooting rampage at 3 different massage parlors in the Atlanta area. A 21-year-old suspect, seen here, was arrested last night in connection with the shooting after a 3-hour manhunt. New information coming out today, the suspect is speaking with police and indicated he has sexual addiction issues and may have frequented some of these massage parlors in the past and wanted to, quote, eliminate temptation. He was also reportedly on his way to Florida, quote, perhaps to carry out additional shootings. That's according to the mayor of Atlanta. Now, Erica, we've definitely seen a rise in Asian hate crimes, right? Anti-Asian hate crimes. And I know that this is his excuse, legal strategy, but I don't think that we can deny the fact that many Asian people have been the victim of Asian hate.
We can't deny it, and we should not be denying it, because all it's doing is just stoking the fire for more hate and violence against the Asian community. And if we don't call things out for them as they are, then all we're doing is we're really saying, let's be violent and this is going to be okay. I think it's really important that we listen to the verbiage of how the story is being told, because the idea that he would say that it wasn't about them being Asian, it was about massage parlors, which now he's basically saying that it's sex parlors, is a dog whistle. And it's to put that out there that maybe these were places that weren't legitimate businesses, while also provoking a lot of hatred against the Asian community, which has been on the uprise for quite some time now. And I don't think that it's any mystery how it got that way with all of the rhetoric that was spewed about coronavirus.
Correct. Now, before you chime in, Tori, and then Jeff, I just want to get this in here because officials say it's too early to say if those shootings in the Atlanta area are a hate crime, but To our point, hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. There were nearly 3,800 incidents last year, according to a group that tracks anti-Asian hate. That's up nearly 1,000 from the year prior. Verbal harassment was the most frequent type of discrimination, followed by shunning or avoidance. More than 11% of the incidents were physical assaults. According to the report, Asian women reported hate incidents 2.3 times, Tori, more than men.
Yeah, we got a real problem on our hands, and at DBL, we're going to be reporting this because the media takes responsibility in showing the light of what's going on with our Asian brothers and sisters. I do want to point out that our former president and people in his administration, when they call the coronavirus Kung Flu, the China virus, I say this because people understand that those words lead to actions, and we're seeing this happen on the streets. Random people getting pushed, random people getting punched, and this has turned into an epidemic, and the words need to be called out, I think.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. And your point was interesting about perpetuating that stereotype. I didn't even think about adding that to the story. I kind of wish we wouldn't have shown this man's face. We started doing that when the school shootings were starting to rise, and we chose not to do that. I think we need to get back to that because, like both you guys said, we need to stop this now. I heard rumblings of this. There's 2 Asian guys who live on my block. They've never opened up and talked about this. I don't know how big of a thing it is. And then you see a story like this and you realize how big it is. So it is a big thing, and we have to, stop it now.
We absolutely do. Thank you for that, Jeff. Coming up on DBL, Sharon Osbourne is in hot water. Will she be able to survive new racial allegations leveled against her? Plus, brains and beauty. Former Miss America Nina Davaluri is telling Erica how she turned her historic win into meaningful activism. And it's an all-out social media war between Cardi B and conservative commentator Candace Owens. We'll tell you what it's all about coming up next. Closed caption.
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL, everyone. Check all our co-workers at home during the pandemic. Look at all your smiling faces. Hey, Kel. You guys are working so hard. Keep up the great work, everybody. So conservative commentator Candace Owens and rapper Cardi B are having a war of words. It all started when Candace took issue with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance at the Grammy Awards on Sunday. Speaking on Fox News, Candace called the racy performance, quote, weakening of America and a destruction of American values and American principles. Cardi B hit back by posting allegedly false claims that Candace's brother and Candace's husband had an affair. Candace then posted a tweet saying that she is going to sue Cardi B for throwing out wild lies about her family. Wow. Erica, what do you think? Oh, your eyes are closed. What's going on?
My eyes are wide open. I don't believe that this woman believes anything that she says. I really don't. I think that this is a very short road to a check for her. You know, Candace Owens is a professional troll. That's what she does. She stokes the flames in order to get attention. And I think, you know, it's just interesting to me because from my perspective as a black woman in media, I look at her as someone who took the short line. And what I mean by that is that any black woman or black man who's willing to get up in front of people and disparage people that look like them in front of people who don't, there is a very quick check for that. It's a very widely known. So I can't really take anything that she says seriously because I don't think she really takes herself seriously. I think she's very successful at what she does. I mean, clearly she's doing the damn thing. But at what cost? I mean, how much does a soul cost?
Jeff.
Let me add some levity to this. This morning, I know how Erica feels about Candace Owens, and when we were talking about this, she's like, who wants to hear from Candace Owens? I'm like, I like her. You know what I mean? I thought, Candace Owens, I'm sorry. I'm like, I like her. I thought you were talking about Candace Cameron. And I was like, oh, and like towards the end of the conversation, I was like, oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
There you go. The hamster started running. So
what do you think about, take them out of it.
Let's take Candace Owens out of this for now, okay? And just pose that question. Was it appropriate for CBS to do this? I don't blame Cardi B for doing this. This is what Cardi B does, right? If you look all the way back to Elvis Presley shaking the hips, people did the same controversy about it. Madonna with the pointy things.
The bra?
Pointy things?
I don't know. Listen, every time I'm on this camera, I'm on eggshells over
You can say bra.
There's not a carpet, it's all eggshells.
I thought you were pointing
Okay, what are you pointing
See what I mean? See what I mean? You just fall into it and then boom, I'm gone. That's Big Jeff's gone.
Okay, so the pointy bra.
Anyways, the point I was making, this falls on CBS, okay? I know we're trying to have a serious conversation, but it's gone awry. So this falls on CBS with the cancel culture in play and everybody losing their job for like little small things, and I'm not comparing it to Mr. Potato Head like we did yesterday. I'm saying this is a real thing. People lose their jobs for little things that they say, for sharing their opinions. CBS is a primetime network, ABC, NBC. If it was on HBO, do your thing, right? Do your thing. But this is on a major network that cancels people for smaller things. So I think it was up to them to say, hey, listen, I love you, Cardi B. I'd love you to do a song. We can't even say the name of your song in this show, so maybe pick another one.
But see, here's the thing.
And then Tori chime in. Erica.
Sorry, we've had this conversation, but the truth is that CBS may be in the middle of an overcorrection because you brought up people canceled versus people who weren't, and also why certain people were canceled for smaller infractions based than others. Janet Jackson was essentially canceled by Les Moonves to CBS.
And I brought that up.
And so the overcorrection is, I mean, is this an overcorrection in this moment, or is it just CBS saying like, hey, these are two of the most popular artists right now, let's make sure that they do their thing on our stage?
They did put up a disclaimer saying if you have children, remove them from the room. So what more are you supposed to do? I would never let my children watch that performance, but I would watch it.
Yeah, like if you're going to put Cardi B in, whose song wasn't up for an award, CBS asked them to do that song. If you know what that song means, you aren't shocked that this is how they acted. That's exactly what the song's all about. So it's just silly and it's imbecilic to me to be angry about that. Now, I will say, Candace Owens, you need to be careful about suing for defamation because people can come right back at you. She is a self-hating woman, I think, that has nothing but darkness in her heart. I really can't stand her.
She's also very litigious happy. You know, she has a number of lawsuits, and yes, Eric, I see you pointed. What's going on, girl?
No, I was pointing. I was getting. Keep going. Okay. Keep going.
She's very litigious. Let's look at that history of lawsuits.
And who did she utilize for said lawsuits, and then turned around and disparaged and dismissed them as well?
Tell them.
So you benefited from that platform, Boo Boo. You benefited.
Okay. Coming up on DBL, actor Elliot Page makes history on the cover of Time. We'll explain why this photo is so powerful. And next, former Miss America, Nina Davaluri. She made history as the first woman of South Asian descent to win the crown, and tells Erica how she's using her voice to spread a message of inclusion.
Welcome back to DBL. Colorism is mistreatment of people with darker skin, often within their race or family. Earlier, I tackled this hot topic with Nina Davaluri, who is also my Instagram sister, because even as Miss America, she's experienced it and is talking about it in our DBL Spotlight.
Miss America is Miss New York.
You were the first South Asian woman to get the crown. So you have been a champion for diversity and social justice in so many ways. I really want to know what colorism means to you and how it differs from racism.
The morning after I won Miss America, I woke up to hundreds of comments. This was, really back in 2014 where Twitter had hit its peak. And I woke up to a lot of xenophobic and racist comments about being a terrorist, being called Miss 7-Eleven, being un-American to win the title. But I think the other part of this conversation that was happening amongst the South Asian community was this conversation, and I woke up to a headline in an Indian newspaper that said, "Is Miss America too dark to be Miss India?" And colorism is something that I have grown up with. And how many more generations do we have to endure this toxic ideology and this hierarchical structure that's been passed down?
I really, really identified with what you were saying. And this isn't just something you talk about. This is your life's mission in a way. You're a filmmaker and you're talking about colorism as a filmmaker. Can you tell us about your documentary?
Oh, look at her. Kali chal kar aa rahi hai. Oh my God, hataओ ना इसको. Like, she's dark. That black girl, she's coming in front. Tell her to go off of the stage.
As a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I think for me, I went into this process of how do I tell these hundreds of human stories, find the common connections and threads, and how can we actively create change from these stories? And so one of the stories that I remember telling as a part of this was there was a girl who was 16 years old. She was being bullied because she was dark-skinned, and she had admitted that she was also close to committing suicide because of the comments and the bullying that she was experiencing. And to hear someone like Meghan Markle come out and speak her truth and be vulnerable and share that, I think that's really a common thread for all of us in the sense that any of us can be that little girl.
Meghan Markle speaking out about the conversation that was had about Archie's skin tone and how dark he might be. By asking what color the child may be, is that inherently a racist question?
I do think it's inherently a racist question in the context that it was asked, specifically for her. But I think also this is something that is very normalized, just wanting to have a lighter skinned baby. And this is the first time that I've genuinely seen in mainstream media where we are speaking about this, we are sharing our stories, and I think that is one of the most impactful things that we can do.
You are doing amazing things in this world, and you have to let us know and come back to give us all the details on your film Complexion.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
I'm Gilda.
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of the story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, there is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing. So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got an incredible rescue caught on camera. Emergency crews saved 2 people from this pickup truck that had crashed and plunged off a bridge, leaving them dangling above a 100-foot gorge in Idaho on Monday. Can you imagine? A pair of chains was the only thing keeping the truck from falling. They were connected to a trailer they were towing. Now, a Good Samaritan, who, by the way, happened to be a tow truck driver, was first on the scene and was able to hook in.
That'll get you believing. I like to use my girlfriend Tanya's quote. She survived a fighter jet crash, and she said, "What I learned was, if it ain't your day to."
Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. I am Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. All right, so Sharon Osbourne is speaking out about allegations that she called her former co-hosts racial and homophobic slurs. Sharon has been in hot water since she defended Piers Morgan for speaking out against Meghan Markle on The Talk. The show is now on an extended break until next week. Meantime, former co-host Holly Robinson-Peete accused Sharon of calling her, quote, too ghetto for the daytime talk show right before she was let go. And now new allegations from a freelance journalist claim Sharon used a homophobic slur against Sarah Gilbert and called Julie Chen a, quote, wonton and, quote, slanty eyes. I'm not even comfortable saying that out loud. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Sharon denied ever calling Julie those racial slurs and said the other allegations are just people who want to add fuel to the fire. Jeff, do you think that Sharon can survive this latest controversy?
I don't know. I didn't know that she could survive just sticking up for Piers Morgan and what he said. I question whether all of this has come about because of that solo incident. They should come, if these are all allegations right now, but if they are true, she should be, you know, held to the fire for it, right, so to speak. But I mean, I think the Piers allegations put it over the top.
Yeah, I think the issue really becomes the culture that they've clearly cultivated on that set. And the reason why I believe that these people are coming forward after being silenced or fear of being blacklisted or losing their jobs is because the person who actually rang the bell and sounded the alarm was Elaine, their newest host. And when someone comes in who's new to your corporation or is new to the culture, and people who have been there for a long time are like, oh, this is normalized, this is how it is, this, you know, she's the head chick in charge, then those things are very normal, right? But when you have someone new come in, they're the ones generally who are like, this is how y'all get down, because it's not okay. HR needs to be involved, and then that's how cultures start to change. So kudos to Elaine for not only stepping into that role, but also taking action when other people felt stifled.
Yeah, no, Tori, and chime in on this next story, but I just want to button this up by saying, you know, this warrants an independent investigation, independent outside of CBS and The Talk. And if these allegations are true, it should cost, in my opinion, Sharon her job. And I I'm not one to call for someone's job, but what I just had to read on prompter made me so uncomfortable. I almost wish I did not have to read that. Elliot Page has made history, Tori. The Juno actor has become the first transgender man to appear on the cover of Time. Elliot said after he came out last year, he expected a lot of support and love and a massive amount of hatred and transphobia. And that is essentially what happened. Elliot also said that he has felt like a boy from a young age and said that having top surgery, quote unquote, has completely transformed his life. He also mentioned transgender actress Laverne Cox as one of his inspirations for coming out. Tori, what do you make about Elliot's revealing interview?
I think it's fantastic. Obviously, I think it's great that he's living his best life now. If you read the article, though, it's really interesting because it talks about how he definitely wanted shorter hair always. He cut his hair. There showed pictures, right? Like, he showed very clear indications that he was uncomfortable. He also says he can't even go back and watch any roles that are super feminine. Like, Juno is what we all know Ellen Page for, right? But Elliot Page doesn't really feel comfortable going back because that's a very feminine, she's pregnant role. So I think this is a new beginning, and I think we're going to see some really interesting acting roles for Elliot that might be a little bit more bold and interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing his career.
Another thing that really stuck out to me in the interview, Jeff and Erica, is the fact that he talked about how having top surgery, quote unquote, helped him to feel normal again, right? Because finally his physicality matched his inner psyche and his inner biology. So the fact that so many young trans teens and adults don't have access to that type of health care is alarming. And I don't know how we can somehow advocate for that to be a right, considering that it can save lives.
Well, I think we have to start with awareness, education, and just acknowledging that trans people are humans. That is probably the most fundamental thing about it. When we mentioned Laverne Cox, she has a documentary called Disclosure, and it really does tell us how we formulate our opinions about the trans community based on the media that we're served, and how that needs to change based on representation, how much representation in education truly matters. So when you mention young people who are dealing with, you know, I look at Zaya Wade, like what Zaya Wade is doing is so incredible. For the amount of backlash from grown but people coming after this young girl is just amazing. And I know that she's saving lives, and so is Elliot. So I just commend them.
And Jeff, Elliot did say in this article that he knew as young as age 4 that he was supposed to be a boy. So Sophie's almost 4, you know, and so I just go ahead.
I'm happy for Elliot Page. Listen, this is true. If you're happy, I'm happy. You know what I mean? And I think everyone should feel that way. It's not your business, your body. If you're happy, Elliot, I'm happy for you. I'm going to take it to somewhere else, though, okay, and maybe spark a little controversy here. So Elliot Page is currently a female in her role that she plays, or his role that she plays. Excuse my vernacular. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a story about Jared Leto coming up a little bit later on, how he transforms. I don't want to spoil it, but he's an amazing actor, right? He won an Oscar for playing a transgender woman, okay? 2021, can Jared Leto play a transgender woman? Because, Tori, I want to go back to you. You always say handicapped roles should go to handicapped people, and I'm not pointing anyone out. Transgender roles should go to transgender people. In 2021, should Elliot Page, who is now a man, be playing a woman, or should Jared Leto, who is not transgender, would he be able to get that role now, even if he won an Oscar for it?
In my humble opinion, I think it should go to someone who's actually transgender, and it's because we're in a transformational period. I think the person who created Transparent would not have been picked to direct that amazing Amazon Prime show had it not have been a trans initiative that Amazon asked for. He said that's the only way I was asked to be part of that, and now look at that wonderfully huge show that bookmarked transformation in the trans world. So at this point, Jeff, I believe that you do want representation from people who are actually there, because they've never had a chance to dang audition ever.
And I'm with you, Tori. I'm just doing this for conversation's sake. So basically what you're saying, though, is Elliot Page is now a white male. Should he continue on as a female in that role?
Should he play a female? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I say I don't think he wants to. I think Elliot Page made it clear in that article he wants to play a role as he is biologically a male. Male roles.
But no, what you're saying, Jeff, is something that has already sparked a lot of these conversations. So I'm glad we're having the conversation on the show. And to your point, I want to bring in Jared Leto. Now, where we see him in this new movie with Gaga is not him playing a trans person, but in the past, he's been celebrated for it, correct? So that was to Jeff's point. Yeah. But we want our viewers to check this out. So this is a little scene from House of Gucci. Can anyone guess? Well, we all know who it is. Jeff spoiled it, but as you can see, you guys, you can barely recognize him. It is Jared Leto. The actor is playing the role of Paolo Gucci and looks completely unrecognizable. This isn't the first time Jared has transformed for a role. To Jeff's point, he played a transgender woman in his Oscar-winning performance in Dallas Buyers Club. Here he is playing Mark David Chapman in a movie about John Lennon's murder. And of course, he was the Joker in the Suicide Squad. I love Jeff's conversation because on this show, this is the conversations that we have. Most people may shy away from these conversations, but this is what a lot of people are talking about on social media. I don't think that Jared Leto could be playing that role, even though he did a fantastic job with it. I don't think in 2021 that he should have played that role in Dallas Buyers Club. Now, 10 years ago, or whenever Dallas Buyers Club was made, we weren't having these conversations, unfortunately, but now we are.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we have these conversations, and I think that, as with anything, we can have conversations in a respectful way and listen to what people's opinions are. I mean, let me be honest. I woke up this morning to a video on Instagram of a woman taking off her full-blown black head.
What?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
I saw this woman. She was a model. She looked like a black woman, and then they peeled off a whole latex thing, and there was a white woman underneath it. So you know what? I'm glad we're having these conversations.
Wait, why did she do this?
Girl, I mean, apparently the memo's not out that blackface is not okay. So I'm just saying, let's have these conversations and continue having them, because every time you have a conversation like this, there's at least one person who's never heard this conversation before. Yeah. That's the reason why we have to continue to have these conversations. Yeah. But that's how I woke up, and I was shook.
I bet you were.
I'm telling you, you should see it. She literally, I'm sending it to producers right now. I know now y'all want to see it. I'll show it to you.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Well, I'm glad that we can have this dialogue.
Yeah, and I do want to say I'm happy for Elliot. I wasn't just posing the scenario because Tori, we talk about that all the time. I think Jared Leto should be able to play. All the time. He wasn't fantastic at the role. He was the most fantastic. He won an Oscar for that role. So to deny someone an Oscar for acting to do what they want, I think it's a good conversation to put out there. That's why I brought it up.
But remember, you might not have seen the best transgender actor ever because they never got to audition.
Well, then Matthew McConaughey played also. Oh, no, never mind. I'm going to leave it there, yes.
Okay. Coming up on DBL, inside the mind of America's most notorious serial killers. We're speaking with the hosts of a chilling new podcast in True Crime Chronicles, and say hey to our coworkers tuning in from home while they work during the pandemic. We appreciate you guys so much. Stay healthy. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by...
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL. Have you ever thought about what makes a serial killer tick? Well, a new podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers, explores some of history's most notorious murderers. Here is a sneak peek in today's True Crime Chronicles.
Many of the world's most notorious crimes are committed by serial killers. But what drives them to commit them? One of the first to shock a nation was Jack the Ripper. He terrorized London in 1888 by killing several women. His identity remains a mystery. In the 60s, there was the Boston Strangler, a man who broke into multiple women's homes.
11 unmarried women in and around Boston were strangled to death.
Albert DeSalvo confessed, but was never convicted. He was a troubled youth who had his first run-in with the law at 12 years old. Tony Costa was known as the Cape Cod Killer. He was just 16 years old when he began showing violence. He went on to murder young women and dump their bodies in graves around Massachusetts. America watched closely in the 1970s and 80s while James Whitey Bulger ruled the Boston underworld. The crime boss was said to be involved in numerous murders and landed on the FBI's most wanted list. He was caught after 16 years on the run.
James Whitey Bulger will finally face justice for a number of his crimes.
One of the most notorious sins came in 1980, when Beatles legend John Lennon was assassinated by Mark David Chapman. He claimed to have shot the musician because of his immense fame.
I was lost, and I didn't know who I was.
In 2013, two bombers set terror at the Boston Marathon, creating one of the darkest chapters in American history and biggest manhunts.
Today, we are enlisting the public's help to identify the two suspects.
Could these criminals' upbringings have contributed to their killing sprees? Or was it a traumatic life event that triggered them? The one thing that's certain is they all had a passion to kill.
Earlier, Tori and Lindsay spoke with the hosts of this new podcast. Take a look. We are joined by Casey Sherman and Dave Wedge from the brand new true crime podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers. Thank you for coming on DBL. Now, Dave, people like myself who are fascinated with true crime, we are so into it. But let's talk about specifically serial killers. What is the fascination about them? Why are people so drawn to these stories?
It's so shocking and so horrifying that someone could be so inhuman that we want to know everything we can about their life and what drove them to that point.
Yeah, that's why I'm in.
And Casey, your podcast digs deep into what makes a serial killer snap. So explain that more. What twisted motives lead them to commit these crimes?
I look at how the investigators, whether they're detectives or investigative journalists like ourselves, piece together the evidence that ultimately lead to the truth. And often that truth is found in the childhoods of these serial killers. There's tremendous trauma that these men and women have gone through, and that sets them on a path of destruction, mayhem, and death.
Now, you were both on the ground during the manhunt for the Boston Marathon bombings. What can you tell us about the psychology of this specific type of killer?
Yeah, and for me, I was inside the courtroom when Dzhokhar Tsarnaev was sentenced to death, and I saw no remorse in his actions or in his eyes. He was proud of the murder and mayhem that he had committed on the streets of Boston.
What Dzhokhar Tsarnaev did when he stood behind the Richard family and put down his backpack with that bomb in it, and he stood there for 4 minutes behind that family, chose them, knew exactly what he's doing, and he had four long minutes to change his mind, and didn't do it.
Now, since you guys have seen so many horrific crimes, who do you believe is the most dangerous serial killer, dead or alive?
This is such a good question.
For me, really the most shocking one that I've ever learned about was Jeffrey Dahmer. I've just never heard of anyone doing the sort of things that he did. It was so ritualistic and animalistic. And horrifying.
Well, I'm currently working on a new book and television project with Robert Downey Jr.'s production company about a serial killer case on Cape Cod in the 1960s that went way under the radar because it was overshadowed by the Manson murder case in California. But in this case, the killer killed and dismembered at least 8 women and buried their bodies in shallow graves.
Wow.
And finally, I have got in my hands the autopsy and the crime scene photos from these crimes.
I will be listening because I think what you guys are trying to do is not just show the romanticism of it, which you can see in a lot of these episodes and podcasts, but to show what you said, the animals that they are, is so important for those that want justice. And I can't even imagine what that would feel like. Well, y'all can listen to their brand new podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers. It is out now. I'm watching.
Me too.
Casey and Dave, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
We all know that movement.
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of the story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, "There is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing." So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Welcome back to DBL. It is time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. The Better Business Bureau is warning of new tax identity theft. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, do it now. Because of the pandemic, there are new threats like federal stimulus pay and unemployment scams. If you wait until April 15th, the deadline, you're putting yourself at higher risk of fraud. Scammers are looking for people who don't file early and are making fake phone calls to get their personal information. Once they do, they can file in your name. It also is happening through email, where people are asking for personal info in exchange for a free gift card. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. This boils my blood. So many people are suffering right now due to the pandemic, unemployment, small businesses crashing, and then you have these criminals preying on these vulnerable victims.
And where they get that free gift card, that's where they get me. Sign up for a credit card at the White Sox game, you get a free me bat or a little mini bat.
You fall for that?
I always sign up. Not anymore, but I used to be like, free Beanie Baby that says White Sox on it? Here's my credit information.
Which costs like $1.
But you're like at the game, you just want to be like, yeah, I got some souvenirs.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, he's back. World-renowned mentalist Wayne Hoffman joins us live to blow our minds with his psychic tricks.
That is insanity.
I'm gonna need some purity water over me because I don't know what's happening here.
Can someone sage me?
That's tomorrow, only on DBL.
Oh, Wayne Hoffman. He's from a different planet.
He's part of the family, though.
Oh, my
Wayne,
gosh.
He did our Christmas party.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He is definitely part of the DBL family. Okay, so we have a lot of comments on Elliot Page. Tina says, so proud of Elliot Page for living his truth. Ben says, Elliot, good for you. Don't let the haters detract you from true spirit. Now, in regard to Jared Leto, Diana says, Jared is such a good actor. He could play anyone. And Reese says, I think if you have the chops to play a role, you should. That's to Jeff's point.
Yeah, and I'm just bringing up that point because if you really follow the rule that he can't be a transgender, if that's how you believe, then Elliot Page can't play a female. That's just I don't believe that, but if you're following those rules.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this discussion as things progress.
Erica doesn't even have to talk. Her face just
her
does all
facial expressions are spot on. A quick goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. We appreciate everything you guys do. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Today on Daily Blast Live.
8 people are dead in shootings in 2 Atlanta area massage parlors. Was this another targeted hate crime against Asians? Cardi B and Candace Owens' heated Twitter feud ends with legal threats. Could it come down to these two suing each other? Sharon Osbourne under investigation. The racist accusations she's facing from former colleagues. And in today's True Crime Chronicles, inside the minds of America's most notorious serial killers.
I was lost, and I didn't know who I was.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, March 17th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Yes, we hope you have a chance to celebrate safely. Maybe enjoy some Irish cuisine like corned beef and cabbage, have a Guinness or some green beer at home with your fam. So this year, though, most of the big celebrations and parades in cities like New York, Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia have been canceled, but some are going on virtually. So Jeff, and both you and Erica from Chicago, every time I see the Green River, is it a river? Chicago River. Every time I see the Green River, I think of y'all. Now, how did you used to celebrate, Jeff, and what are you doing now that we're in a pandemic?
So my mom used to make corned beef and cabbage in the crock pot every, just to celebrate, and then I'd head off downtown to the Green River.
Fun.
Maybe drink some of it by my street. I don't know. Some of those days. No, it's definitely definitely don't drink.
You better take some antibiotics after that.
It came close, but I never did. But today, we have this little clubhouse in our neighborhood. They give out 1 free beer, and they have like a little food truck. So instead of doing all that, although I love corned beef and cabbage, just gonna go up there and get a green beer and maybe eat a corned beef sandwich or something.
Erica?
Yeah, in Chicago, I lived right on the parade route, right off the Chicago River. I won't do my impression. Every year I do my
What? I do the impression.
What impression?
So there used to be this commercial in Chicago. I think it was for McDonald's, and they're like, every year for St. Patty's Day, they dye the river green. They do such a good job, it stays that way the whole year round.
That was good. We're gonna keep the tradition alive.
Every year. So I would go and hang out and do all those things. This year we are going to do a little celebration at home.
You are?
Yes, just a little something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Tori, do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Top of the morning to you, Sammy. I do. I'm married to an Irish Catholic, and my Irish in-law, my mother-in-law, always made me corned beef and cabbage, and I've grown to love it because it's like deli.
Yes.
It is.
Yes,
Are you doing
it
anything,
is.
Sam?
No, we don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but to all our Irish brothers and sisters out there, I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. I don't eat corned beef. Maybe we can.
You could put a little dye in your buttery shard.
I might do that. I actually have to.
I don't know if you can put dye in the buttery shard.
I'm going to try it, and I'm going to send you a picture.
Half a glass.
Okay, I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to do a green buttery shard.
There you go.
Yes. I wonder, do people still pinch? Has that been canceled? Pinching?
It probably should be.
It should be. Pinching if you don't wear green.
Right.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh, yeah. See, you're safe because you have a little green in your...
Yeah, you're safe.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
I've got green on me, but yeah, that's a little antiquated. Nobody go out there pinching people, okay? Okay, so we're going to move on to an incredibly sad story. 8 people are dead, including 6 Asian women, after a shooting rampage at 3 different massage parlors in the Atlanta area. A 21-year-old suspect, seen here, was arrested last night in connection with the shooting after a 3-hour manhunt. New information coming out today. The suspect is speaking with police and indicated he has sexual addiction issues and may have frequented some of these massage parlors in the past and wanted to, quote, eliminate temptation. He was also reportedly on his way to Florida, quote, perhaps to carry out additional shootings. That's according to the mayor of Atlanta. Now, Erica, we've definitely seen a rise in Asian hate crimes, right? Anti-Asian hate crimes. And I know that this is his excuse, legal strategy, but I don't think that we can deny the fact that many Asian people have been the victim of Asian hate.
We can't deny it, and we should not be denying it, because all it's doing is just stoking the fire for more hate and violence against the Asian community. And if we don't call things out for them as they are, then all we're doing is we're really saying, let's be violent and this is going to be okay. I think it's really important that we listen to the verbiage of how the story is being told, because the idea that he would say that it wasn't about them being Asian, it was about massage parlors, which now he's basically saying that it's sex parlors, is a dog whistle. And it's to put that out there that maybe these were places that weren't legitimate businesses, while also provoking a lot of hatred against the Asian community, which has been on the uprise for quite some time now. And I don't think that it's any mystery how it got that way with all of the rhetoric that was spewed about coronavirus.
Correct. Now, before you chime in, Tori, and then Jeff, I just want to get this in here because officials say it's too early to say if those shootings in the Atlanta area are a hate crime, but to our point, hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. There were nearly 3,800 incidents last year, according to a group that tracks anti-Asian hate. That's up nearly 1,000 from the year prior. Verbal harassment was the most frequent type of discrimination, followed by shunning or avoidance. More than 11% of the incidents were physical assaults. According to the report, Asian women reported hate incidents 2.3 times, Tori, more than men.
Yeah, we got a real problem on our hands, and at DBL, we're going to be reporting this because the media takes responsibility in showing the light of what's going on with our Asian brothers and sisters. I do want to point out that our former president and people in his administration, when they call the coronavirus Kung Flu, the China virus, I say this because people understand that those words lead to actions, and we're seeing this happen on the streets. Random people getting pushed, random people getting punched, and this has turned into an epidemic, and the words need to be called out, I think.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. And your point was interesting about perpetuating that stereotype. I didn't even think about adding that to the story. I kind of wish we wouldn't have shown this man's face. We started doing that when the school shootings were starting to rise, and we chose not to do that. I think we need to get back to that because, like both you guys said, we need to stop this now. I heard rumblings of this. There's two Asian guys who live on my block. They've never opened up and talked about this. I don't know how big of a thing it is. And then you see a story like this and you realize how big it is. So it is a big thing, and we have to, stop it now.
We absolutely do. Thank you for that, Jeff. Coming up on DBL, Sharon Osbourne is in hot water. Will she be able to survive new racial allegations leveled against her? Plus, brains and beauty. Former Miss America Nina Davaluri is telling Erica how she turned her historic win into meaningful activism. And it's an all-out social media war between Cardi B and conservative commentator Candace Owens. We'll tell you what it's all about coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL, everyone. Check out all our co-workers at home during the pandemic. Look at all your smiling faces. Hey, Kel. You guys are working so hard. Keep up the great work, everybody. So conservative commentator Candace Owens and rapper Cardi B are having a war of words. It all started when Candace took issue with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance at the Grammy Awards on Sunday. Speaking on Fox News, Candace called the racy performance, quote, weakening of America and a destruction of American values and American principles. Cardi B hit back by posting allegedly false claims that Candace's brother and Candace's husband had an affair. Candace then posted a tweet saying that she is going to sue Cardi B for throwing out wild lies about her family. Wow. Erica, what do you think? Oh, your eyes are closed. What's going on?
My eyes are wide open. I don't believe that this woman believes anything that she says. I really don't. I think that this is a very short road to a check for her. You know, Candace Owens is a professional troll. That's what she does. She stokes the flames in order to get attention. And I think, you know, it's just interesting to me because from my perspective as a black woman in media, I look at her as someone who took the short line. And what I mean by that is that any black woman or black man who's willing to get up in front of people and disparage people that look like them in front of people who don't, there is a very quick check for that. It's very widely known. So I can't really take anything that she says seriously because I don't think she really takes herself seriously. I think she's very successful at what she does. I mean, clearly she's doing the damn thing. But at what cost? I mean, how much does a soul cost?
Jeff.
Let me add some levity to this. This morning, I know how Erica feels about Candace Owens, and when we were talking about this, she's like, who wants to hear from Candace Owens? I'm like, I like her. You know what I mean? I thought, Candace Owens, I'm sorry. I'm like, I like her. I thought you were talking about Candace Cameron. And I was like, oh, and like towards the end of the conversation, I was like, oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
There you go. The hamster started running.
So what do you think about, take them out of it.
Let's take Candace Owens out of this for now, okay? And just pose that question. Was it appropriate for CBS to do this? I don't blame Cardi B for doing this. This is what Cardi B does, right? If you look all the way back to Elvis Presley shaking the hips, people did the same controversy about it. Madonna with the pointy things.
The bra? Pointy things?
I don't know. Listen, I want every time I'm on this camera, I'm on eggshells over
You can say bra.
There's not a carpet, it's all eggshells.
I thought you were pointing
Okay, what are you pointing?
See what I mean? See what I mean? You just fall into it and then boom, I'm gone. That's Big Jeff's gone.
Okay, so the pointy bra.
Anyways, the point I was making, this falls on CBS, okay? I know we're trying to have a serious conversation, but it's gone awry. So this falls on CBS with the cancel culture in play and everybody losing their job for like little small things, and I'm not comparing it to Mr. Potato Head like we did yesterday. I'm saying this is a real thing. People lose their jobs for little things that they say, for sharing their opinions. CBS is a primetime network, ABC, NBC. If it was on HBO, do your thing, right? Do your thing. But this is on a major network that cancels people for smaller things. So I think it was up to them to say, hey, listen, I love you, Cardi B. I'd love you to do a song. We can't even say the name of your song in this show, so maybe pick another one.
But see, here's the thing.
And then Tori chime in. Erica,
we've had this conversation, but the truth is that CBS may be in the middle of an overcorrection because you brought up people canceled versus people who weren't, and also why certain people were canceled for smaller infractions based than others. Janet Jackson was essentially canceled by Les Moonves at CBS.
And I brought that up.
And so the overcorrection is this an overcorrection in this moment, or is it just CBS saying like, hey, these are two of the most popular artists right now, let's make sure that they do their thing on our stage.
They did put up a disclaimer saying if you have children, remove them from the room. So what more are you supposed to do? I would never let my children watch that performance, but I would watch it.
Yeah, like if you're gonna put Cardi B in, whose song wasn't up for an award, CBS asked them to do that song. If you know what that song means, you aren't shocked that this is how they acted. That's exactly what the song's all about. So it's just silly and it's imbecilic to me to be angry about that. Now I will say, Candace Owens, you need to be careful about suing for defamation because people can come right back at you. She is a self-hating woman, I think, that has nothing but darkness in her heart. I really can't stand her.
She's also very litigious happy. You know, she has a number of lawsuits. And yes, Eric, I see you pointing. What's going on, girl?
No, I was pointing. I was getting. Keep going. Okay. Keep going.
She's very litigious. Let's just look at that history of lawsuits.
And who did she utilize for said lawsuits, and then turned around and disparaged and dismissed them as well?
Tell them.
So you benefited from that platform, Boo Boo. You benefited.
Okay. Coming up on DBL, actor Elliot Page makes history on the cover of Time. We'll explain why this photo is so powerful. And next, former Miss America, Nina Davaluri. She made history as the first woman of South Asian descent to win the crown and tells Erica how she's using her voice to spread a message of inclusion.
Welcome back to DBL. Colorism is mistreatment of people with darker skin, often within their race or family. Earlier, I tackled this hot topic with Nina Davaluri, who is also my Instagram sister, because even as Miss America, she's experienced it and is talking about it in our DBL Spotlight.
Miss America is Miss New York.
You were the first South Asian woman to get the crown. So you have been a champion for diversity and social justice in so many ways. I really want to know what colorism means to you and how it differs from racism.
The morning after I won Miss America, I woke up to hundreds of comments. This was, really back in 2014 where Twitter had hit its peak. And I woke up to a lot of xenophobic and racist comments about being a terrorist, being called Miss 7-Eleven, being un-American to win the title. But I think the other part of this conversation that was happening amongst the South Asian community was this conversation, and I woke up to a headline in an Indian newspaper that said, "Is Miss America too dark to be Miss India?" And colorism is something that I have grown up with. And how many more generations do we have to endure this toxic ideology and this hierarchical structure that's been passed down?
I really identified with what you were saying. And this isn't just something you talk about. This is your life's mission in a way. You're a filmmaker and you're talking about colorism as a filmmaker. Can you tell us about your documentary?
Oh, look at her. Kali chal kar aa rahi hai. Oh my God, hataओ ना इसको. Like, she's dark. That black girl, she's coming in front. Tell her to go off of the stage.
As a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I think for me, I went into this process of how do I tell these hundreds of human stories, find the common connections and threads, and how can we actively create change from these stories? And so one of the stories that I remember telling as a part of this was there was a girl who was 16 years old. She was being bullied because she was dark-skinned, and she had admitted that she was also close to committing suicide because of the comments and the bullying that she was experiencing. And to hear someone like Meghan Markle come out and speak her truth and be vulnerable and share that, I think that's really a common thread for all of us in the sense that any of us can be that little girl.
Meghan Markle speaking out about the conversation that was had about Archie's skin tone and how dark he might be. By asking what color the child may be, is that inherently a racist question?
I do think it's inherently a racist question in the context that it was asked, specifically for her. But I think also this is something that is very normalized, just wanting to have a lighter skinned baby. And this is the first time that I've genuinely seen in mainstream media where we are speaking about this, we are sharing our stories, and I think that is one of the most impactful things that we can do.
You are doing amazing things in this world, and you have to let us know and come back to give us all the details on your film Complexion.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of the story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, there is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing. So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got an incredible rescue caught on camera. Emergency crews saved 2 people from this pickup truck that had crashed and plunged off a bridge, leaving them dangling above a 100-foot gorge in Idaho on Monday. Can you imagine? A pair of chains was the only thing keeping the truck from falling. They were connected to a trailer they were towing. Now, a Good Samaritan, who, by the way, happened to be a tow truck driver, was first on the scene and was able to hook his rig to the dangling truck. Here's what he said to Good Morning America.
I was just at the right place at the right time, and actually I give all the credit to God that I was there. That truck is just hanging on by a little chain when I looked over.
Wow. Now, 2 dogs were also rescued. That is divine intervention. Not right place at the right time. That was divine intervention.
That'll get you believing. I like to use my girlfriend Tanya's quote. She survived a fighter jet crash, and she said, "What I learned was, if it ain't your day to die, nothing's gonna kill you."
Wow, fighter jet crash. Okay,
That's a story.
That's a whole nother story.
Oh,
We didn't
she's
have her on the
amazing.
show. Okay, so and then Tori, what did you think of this?
Well, basically in Yiddish, there's a word I want you guys to know called beshert. And beshert means it's meant to be. It's meant to be. And it's usually about soulmates. You say it's beshert. It's meant to happen. But that man being there with the chains, that was beshert, just as you guys said. No matter what God you believe in, that was divine.
Tori just takes a story and
Wait, why didn't all the energy die?
Maybe Jeff has a saying. Do you have a saying that you would apply to this story?
No, I'm going to go with divine intervention or beshert. I learned something new. But it just, I don't know why. When Tori talks, like we have that friendship, I just want to laugh and like make fun of you all the time.
You guys poke fun. We all poke fun. If our viewers could only see our text threads.
I know she was texting at the break. That's
If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. You can chat with other viewers and with the host during the commercials, and we'll read your comments on TV. If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Sharon Osbourne is fighting for her career after new allegations of racial slurs are revealed. Plus, inside the minds of infamous serial killers, we're talking to the hosts of a new podcast in True Crime Chronicles. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. You guys are working so hard. DBL is new every day. We'll be right back.
talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. All right, so Sharon Osbourne is speaking out about allegations that she called her former co-hosts racial and homophobic slurs. Sharon has been in hot water since she defended Piers Morgan for speaking out against Meghan Markle on The Talk. The show is now on an extended break until next week. Meantime, former co-host Holly Robinson-Peete accused Sharon of calling her, quote, too ghetto for the daytime talk show right before she was let go. And now new allegations from a freelance journalist claim Sharon used a homophobic slur against Sarah Gilbert and called Julie Chen a, quote, wonton and, quote, slanty eyes. I'm not even comfortable saying that out loud. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Sharon denied ever calling Julie those racial slurs and said the other allegations are just people who want to add fuel to the fire. Jeff, do you think that Sharon can survive this latest controversy?
I don't know. I didn't know that she could survive just sticking up for Piers Morgan and what he said. I question whether all of this has come about because of that solo incident. They should come, if these are all allegations right now, but if they are true, she should be, held to the fire for it, right, so to speak. But I mean, I think the Piers allegations put it over the top.
Yeah, I think the issue really becomes the culture that they've clearly cultivated on that set. And the reason why I believe that these people are coming forward after being silenced or fear of being blacklisted or losing their jobs is because the person who actually rang the bell and sounded the alarm was Elaine, their newest host. And when someone comes in who's new to your corporation or is new to the culture, and people who have been there for a long time are like, oh, this is normalized, this is how it is, this, she's the head chick in charge, then those things are very normal, right? But when you have someone new come in, they're the ones generally who are like, this is how y'all get down, because it's not okay. HR needs to be involved, and then that's how culture starts to change. So kudos to Elaine for not only stepping into that role, but also taking action when other people felt stifled.
Yeah, no, Tori, and chime in on this next story, but I just want to button this up by saying, this warrants an independent investigation, independent outside of CBS and The Talk. And if these allegations are true, it should cost, in my opinion, Sharon her job. And I'm not one to call for someone's job, but what I just had to read on prompter made me so uncomfortable. I almost wish I did not have to read that. Elliot Page has made history, Tori. The Juno actor has become the first transgender man to appear on the cover of Time. Elliot said after he came out last year, he expected a lot of support and love and a massive amount of hatred and transphobia. And that is essentially what happened. Elliot also said that he has felt like a boy from a young age and said that having top surgery, quote unquote, has completely transformed his life. He also mentioned transgender actress Laverne Cox as one of his inspirations for coming out. Tori, what do you make about Elliot's revealing interview?
I think it's fantastic. Obviously, I think it's great that he's living his best life now. If you read the article, though, it's really interesting because it talks about how he definitely wanted shorter hair always. He cut his hair. There showed pictures, right? Like, he showed very clear indications that he was uncomfortable. He also says he can't even go back and watch any roles that are super feminine. Like, Juno is what we all know Ellen Page for, right? But Elliot Page doesn't really feel comfortable going back because that's a very feminine, she's pregnant role. So I think this is a new beginning, and I think we're going to see some really interesting acting roles for Elliot that might be a little bit more bold and interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing his career.
Another thing that really stuck out to me in the interview, Jeff and Erica, is the fact that he talked about how having top surgery, quote unquote, helped him to feel normal again, right? Because finally his physicality matched his inner psyche, his inner biology. So the fact that so many young trans teens and adults don't have access to that type of health care is alarming. And I don't know how we can somehow advocate for that to be a right, considering that it can save lives.
Well, I think we have to start with awareness, education, and just acknowledging that trans people are humans. That is probably the most fundamental thing about it. When we mentioned Laverne Cox, she has a documentary called Disclosure, and it really does tell us how we formulate our opinions about the trans community based on the media that we're served, and how that needs to change based on representation, how much representation in education truly matters. So when you mention young people who are dealing with, you know, I look at Zaya Wade, like what Zaya Wade is doing is so incredible. For the amount of backlash from grown but people coming after this young girl is just amazing. And I know that she's saving lives, and so is Elliot. So I just commend them.
And Jeff, Elliot did say in this article that he knew as young as age 4 that he was supposed to be a boy. So Sophie's almost 4, you know, and so I just... go ahead.
I'm happy for Elliot Page. Listen, this is true. If you're happy, I'm happy. You know what I mean? And I think everyone should feel that way. It's not your business, your body. If you're happy, Elliot, I'm happy for you. I'm going to take it to somewhere else, though, okay, and maybe spark a little controversy here. So Elliot Page is currently a female in her role that she plays, or his role that she plays. Excuse my vernacular. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a story about Jared Leto coming up a little bit later on, how he transforms. I don't want to spoil it, but he's an amazing actor, right? He won an Oscar for playing a transgender woman, okay? 2021, can Jared Leto play a transgender woman? Because Tori, I want to go back to you. You always say handicap roles should go to handicapped people, and I'm not pointing anyone out. Transgender roles should go to transgender people. In 2021, should Elliot Page, who is now a man, be playing a woman, or should Jared Leto, who is not transgender, would he be able to get that role now, even if he won an Oscar for it?
In my humble opinion, I think it should go to someone who's actually transgender, and it's because we're in a transformational period. I think the person who created Transparent would not have been picked to direct that amazing Amazon Prime show had it not have been a trans initiative that Amazon asked for. He said that's the only way I was asked to be part of that, and now look at that wonderfully huge show that bookmarked transformation in the trans world. So at this point, Jeff, I believe that you do want representation from people who are actually there, because they've never had a chance to dang audition ever.
And I'm with you, Tori. I'm just doing this for conversation's sake. So basically what you're saying, though, is Elliot Page is now a white male. Should he continue on as a female in that role?
Should he play a female? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I say I don't think he wants to. I think Elliot Page made it clear in that article he wants to play a role as he is biologically a male roles.
But no, it's what you're saying, Jeff, is something that has already sparked a lot of these conversations. So I'm glad we're having the conversation on the show. And to your point, I want to bring in Jared Leto. Now, where we see him in this new movie with Gaga is not him playing a trans person, but in the past, he's been celebrated for it, correct? So that was to Jeff's point. Yeah. But we want our viewers to check this out. So this is a little scene from House of Gucci. Can anyone guess? Well, we all know who it is. Jeff spoiled it. But as you can see, you guys, you can barely recognize him. It is Jared Leto. The actor is playing the role of Paolo Gucci and looks completely unrecognizable. This isn't the first time Jared has transformed for a role. To Jeff's point, he played a transgender woman in his Oscar-winning performance in Dallas Buyers Club. Here he is playing Mark David Chapman in a movie about John Lennon's murder. And of course, he was the Joker in the Suicide Squad. I love Jeff's conversation because on this show, this is the conversations that we have. Most people may shy away from these conversations, but this is what a lot of people are talking about on social media. I don't think that Jared Leto could be playing that role, even though he did a fantastic job with it. I don't think in 2021 that he should have played that role in Dallas Buyers Club. Now, 10 years ago, or whenever Dallas Buyers Club was made, we weren't having these conversations, unfortunately, but now we are.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we have these conversations, and I think that, as with anything, we can have conversations in a respectful way. Absolutely. And listen to what people's opinions are. I mean, let me be honest. I woke up this morning to a video on Instagram of a woman taking off her full-blown black head.
What?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
I saw this woman. She was a model. She looked like a black woman, and then they peeled off a whole latex thing, and there was a white woman underneath it. So you know what? I'm glad we're having these conversations.
Wait, why did she do this?
Girl, I mean, apparently the memo's not out that blackface is not okay. So I'm just saying, let's have these conversations and continue having them, because every time you have a conversation like this, there's at least one person who's never heard this conversation before. Yeah. That's the reason why we have to continue to have these conversations. Yeah. But that's how I woke up, and I was shook.
I bet you were.
I'm telling you, you should see it. She literally, I'm sending it to producers right now. Yeah. I know now y'all want to see it. I'll show it to you.
Wow, wow,
It was crazy.
Well, I'm glad that we can have this dialogue.
Yeah, and I do want to say I'm happy for Elliot. I wasn't just posing the scenario because, Tori, we talk about that all the time. I think Jared Leto should be able to play.
All the time.
He wasn't fantastic at the role. He was the most fantastic. He won an Oscar for that role. So to deny someone an Oscar for acting to do what they want, I think it's a good conversation to put out there. That's why I brought it up.
But remember, you might not have seen the best transgender actor ever because they never got to audition.
Well, then Matthew McConaughey played also. Oh, no, never mind. I'm going to leave it there, yes.
Okay. Coming up on DBL, inside the mind of America's most notorious serial killers. We're speaking with the host of a chilling new podcast in True Crime Chronicles, and say hey to our coworkers tuning in from home while they work during the pandemic. We appreciate you guys so much. Stay healthy. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Some employees have already started pushing back after their companies demanded they get vaccinated. First responders in New Mexico have filed a lawsuit after the county mandated vaccines. But requiring workers to get vaccinated is not new, and many legal experts say it's already established that employers are within their rights to require workers to get an FDA-approved vaccination. But that FDA approval is what's causing the problem with the coronavirus vaccines. None of them have full FDA approval. Right now, they only have emergency use approval. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has released guidance saying employees can require vaccination despite that distinction. But it does say they must accommodate medical conditions and religious beliefs. Legal experts say the guidance from EEOC won't stop the lawsuit. They anticipate this issue will be debated and litigated for years. Meanwhile, health experts recommend employers explain to workers the importance of getting the vaccine before laying down any mandates.
Welcome back to DBL. Have you ever thought about what makes a serial killer tick? Well, a new podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers, explores some of history's most notorious murderers. Here is a sneak peek in today's True Crime Chronicles.
Many of the world's most notorious crimes are committed by serial killers. But what drives them to commit them? One of the first to shock a nation was Jack the Ripper. He terrorized London in 1888 by killing several women. His identity remains a mystery. In the 60s, there was the Boston Strangler, a man who broke into multiple women's homes.
11 unmarried women in and around Boston were strangled to death.
Albert DeSalvo confessed, but was never convicted. He was a troubled youth who had his first run-in with the law at 12 years old. Tony Costa was known as the Cape Cod Killer. He was just 16 years old when he began showing violence. He went on to murder young women and dump their bodies in graves around Massachusetts. America watched closely in the 1970s and 80s while James Whitey Bulger ruled the Boston underworld. The crime boss was said to be involved in numerous murders and landed on the FBI's most wanted list. He was caught after 16 years on the run.
James Whitey Bulger will finally face justice for a number of his crimes.
One of the most notorious sins came in 1980, when Beatles legend John Lennon was assassinated by Mark David Chapman. He claimed to have shot the musician because of his immense fame.
I was lost, and I didn't know who I was.
In 2013, 2 bombers set terror at the Boston Marathon, creating one of the darkest chapters in American history and biggest manhunts.
Today, we are enlisting the public's help to identify the 2 suspects.
Could these criminals' upbringings have contributed to their killing sprees? Or was it a traumatic life event that triggered them? The one thing that's certain is they all had a passion to kill.
Earlier, Tori and Lindsay spoke with the hosts of this new podcast. Take a look.
We are joined by Casey Sherman and Dave Wedge from the brand new true crime podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers. Thank you for coming on DBL. Now, Dave, people like myself who are fascinated with true crime, we are so into it. But let's talk about specifically serial killers. What is the fascination about them? Why are people so drawn to these stories?
It's so shocking and so horrifying that someone could be so inhuman that we want to know everything we can about their life and what drove them to that point.
Yeah, that's why I'm in.
And Casey, your podcast digs deep into what makes a serial killer snap. So explain that more. What twisted motives lead them to commit these crimes?
I look at how the investigators, whether they're detectives or investigative journalists like ourselves, piece together the evidence that ultimately lead to the truth. And often that truth is found in the childhoods of these serial killers. There's tremendous trauma that these men and women have gone through, and that sets them on a path of destruction, mayhem, and death.
Now, you were both on the ground during the manhunt for the Boston Marathon bombings. What can you tell us about the psychology of this specific type of killer?
Yeah, and for me, I was inside the courtroom when Dzhokhar Tsarnaev was sentenced to death, and I saw no remorse in his actions or in his eyes. He was proud of the murder and mayhem that he had committed on the streets of Boston.
What Dzhokhar Tsarnaev did when he stood behind the Richard family and put down his backpack with that bomb in it, and he stood there for 4 minutes behind that family, chose them, knew exactly what he's doing, and he had four long minutes to change his mind and didn't do it.
Now, since you guys have seen so many horrific crimes, who do you believe is the most dangerous serial killer, dead or alive?
This is such a good question.
For me, really the most shocking one that I've ever learned about was Jeffrey Dahmer. I've just never heard of anyone doing the sort of things that he did. It was so ritualistic and animalistic. And horrifying.
Well, I'm currently working on a new book and television project with Robert Downey Jr.'s production company about a serial killer case on Cape Cod in the 1960s that went way under the radar because it was overshadowed by the Manson murder case in California. But in this case, the killer killed and dismembered at least 8 women and buried their bodies in shallow graves. Wow. And finally, I have got in my hands the autopsy and the crime scene photos from these crimes.
I will be listening because I think what you guys are trying to do is not just show the romanticism of it, which you can see in a lot of these episodes and podcasts, but to show what you said, the animals that they are, is so important for those that want justice. And I can't even imagine what that would feel like. Well, y'all can listen to their brand new podcast, Saints, Sinners, and Serial Killers. It is out now. I'm watching.
Me too.
Casey and Dave, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
We all know that movement is like medicine.
Welcome back to DBL. It is time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. The Better Business Bureau is warning of new tax identity theft. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, do it now. Because of the pandemic, there are new threats like federal stimulus pay and unemployment scams. If you wait until April 15th, the deadline, you're putting yourself at higher risk of fraud. Scammers are looking for people who don't file early and are making fake phone calls to get their personal information. Once they do, they can file in your name. It also is happening through email, where people are asking for personal info in exchange for a free gift card. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. This boils my blood. So many people are suffering right now due to the pandemic, unemployment, small businesses crashing, and then you have these criminals preying on these vulnerable victims.
And where they get that free gift card, that's where they get me. Sign up for a credit card at the White Sox game, you get a free me bat or a little mini bat.
You fall for that?
I always sign up. Not anymore, but I used to be like, free Beanie Baby that says White Sox on it? Sure, here's my credit information.
Which costs like $1.
But you like at the game, you just want to be like, yeah, I got some souvenirs.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
We're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and reports that countries have stopped administering it because of blood clots. Why are we talking about this? Well, dozens of articles and social media posts question whether there's a link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clots in recipients. This can create fear, so let's verify. Have countries stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, and what does that mean for us? Our main sources for this verify are the World Health Organization, the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, and the CDC. So let's start with what we do know. The European Medicines Agency reports 30 cases of blood clots forming in people who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's led 5 countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy, to put a temporary pause on administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. So yes, 5 countries have temporarily stopped giving out this AstraZeneca vaccine. But if you stop there, you're missing a big part of the story. While the EMA acknowledges the 30 cases, they point out that's 30 cases out of nearly 5 million people who received the vaccine. They say, quote, there is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions. The vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered while investigation is ongoing. So what does this mean for us? Well, right now, not much. The AstraZeneca vaccine is still in phase 3 trials here in the US and hasn't been approved for distribution. Put simply, you can't even get one of these vaccines in the US right now. Bottom line, yes, at least 5 countries have stopped administering the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's verified. The question of whether the vaccines are actually linked to these blood clots is still unanswered, but we do know the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been approved in the US at this point. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Tomorrow on DBL, he's back. World-renowned mentalist Wayne Hoffman joins us live to blow our minds with his psychic tricks.
That is insanity.
I'm gonna need some purity water over me because I don't know what's happening here.
Can someone sage me?
That's tomorrow, only on DBL.
Oh, Wayne Hoffman. He's from a different planet.
He's part of the family, though.
Oh, my
Wayne,
gosh.
He did our Christmas party.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He is definitely part of the DBL family. Okay, so we have a lot of comments on Elliot Page. Tina says, so proud of Elliot Page for living his truth. Ben says, Elliot, good for you. Don't let the haters detract you from true spirit. Now, in regard to Jared Leto, Diana says, Jared is such a good actor. He could play anyone. And Reese says, I think if you have the chops to play a role, you should. That's to Jeff's point.
Yeah, and I was just bringing up that point because if you really follow the rule that he can't be a transgender, if that's how you believe, then Elliot Page can't play a female. That's just I don't believe that, but if you're following those rules.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this discussion as things progress.
Erica doesn't even have to talk. Her face just does all the time.
Her facial expressions are spot on. A quick goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. We appreciate everything you guys do. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Thank you.